What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. The gun control going. I like it. Gunner's grooving, man. Welcome in, everybody. Sports Take. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn. We'll be joined very shortly by Barrett Brooks. Barrett, in fact, down at Eagles practice today, so we're going to get all the deets. All the deets, as they say, D-Gun. What's going on, my man?
Good, man. I see you sporting a gunslinger black today. I like that. Look at you.
You know what this is? Actually, it's funny, man. Let me give you the whole. All right. So it was my son's basketball warm-up jersey. So you know that the bureau that I showed you yesterday that I painted?
Yes.
Okay. That was his old one from when he was like not almost a baby, like a little kid.
Okay. All right.
So we're like, let's repurpose it and paint it and do some things and whatever. So he's taking it down to his place at school, and we'll probably do it tomorrow night, I guess. We'll take it down there. But anyway, so
did you put another coat on it?
I did. It looks good, man. I'll take a picture during the break. I'll get you the latest. But so I'm like, all right. The other night, I'm like, you got to empty that thing out before I paint it. You know, whatever. So we'll get the drawers out, and I'll do the whole nine. So he starts unloading it, and it's like all of his old like high school gear from basketball and the other sports that he played. And a lot of it doesn't fit him. So I'm like, stuff's pretty decent, man. Give it the good old dad. I'll be wearing it. So I got a little use out of it. This is his basketball warm-up hoodie.
So your son is bigger than you are?
Oh, way big. He's like 6'3".
Jeez.
He's a tall dude. He's skinny, man. He's skinny. He's like 6'3", $155.
How tall is your wife?
She's like 5'11", 5'10". She's tall.
Okay.
She's tall. So
she's taller than you are.
She's got an inch on me. She's like 5'11", I would say. I'm around 5'10", somewhere in that neighborhood.
All right. I was going to say 5'7" or 5'8", but
no, come on, man. Come on. And my high heels and my lifts that I wear. No, but he's tall, man. He's got her height. My brother-in-law is like 6'3", her brother. Her dad was like 6'3". He's right around like where they are. You know what I mean? So, but he's skinny. So I'm going through this stuff. I'm like, some of this stuff is pretty nice, man. I'm sweats, some old stuff.
I don't blame you,
man. Yeah. So, and the freezing basement, it comes in handy.
Oh yeah, no question about that, dude.
Yeah, the studio's cold, man.
I know, man. When I go down to my basement, that basement is always colder than the rest of the house. And I don't stay down there long. I get down there, do what I have to do, and get out of there in a hurry, man.
It's good sleeping. It's good for sleeping. I like it chilly when it's
No, I don't. I have to endure it because my wife wants it colder.
Wait, you like it warm even when you sleep?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, that's the only time I don't like it warm.
Oh, it's like having a warm glass of milk to help put you to sleep. Man. Oh yeah.
No, I'm with you with the heat. I like the heat. Normally, almost any other circumstance other than when I'm trying to, because I just can't fall asleep if I'm even borderline hot. That's my
wife has a ceiling fan and a stand fan going at the same time.
I admire that. I have the ceiling fan, not on low with the central air. I don't have the standing fan. That's hardcore. She's hardcore, man.
Both are going full bore. I mean, like airplane propellers. I mean, they're going full bore, dude.
I get it.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. There are times, especially when we go on vacations, like the hotels or go visit her family. There's sometimes I sleep with the covers over my bald head, man. I mean, seriously, I wake up with icicles.
Oh man, with that hotel thermostat, you get that thing cranking.
I always make sure she sleeps on the side closest to the AC, wherever the duct is blowing and stuff.
Yes, that's a good move.
Yeah,
good move by you. Yeah. So Barrett will be with us shortly. We see everybody in the chat section. What's up, everybody? Mr. Taz, Anthony, Brandon, Showtime, Peter. We got you, Peter. Fitness Rebel, checking in. What's up, Fitness Rebel?
Speaking of Fitness Rebel, no, there will be no surprise guest today. That much I can tell you.
But isn't that the whole point? You can't say if there is any, right? You have to play along. What we're referencing is yesterday, Derek, out of nowhere, just hits up Lane Johnson as soon as he comes off the practice field, and Lane pops on with us like at this time during the show yesterday and hung out with us for a little bit. He was great. He was in an awesome mood before he ate meetings. He stuck us in there.
Well, the reason I did it is because Barrett had mentioned in our pre-show meeting, Lane Johnson is the best player on the team. I said, okay, let me reach out. And I made sure I told Xander, hey, Lane's going to come on. Do not tell Rob and Barrett he's going to come on. Just catch him off guard. And I was just telling Xander in the pre-show meeting, I said, the look on Rob's face when he saw Lane Johnson in the chat room is like, what is this? Where'd he come from? But let's get him on, let's get him on.
It was awesome. I'm like, so I could see this little, like when our guests pop up, I could see them right at the last second. And right before Xander brings him on to air. And I'm like, wait, that's Lane. And Lane's just got this goofy grin on his face. Like, all right, got her asked. Here I am, man. Let's go.
And I told Lane, I said, the other two don't know you're coming on. So that's why he was laughing.
He was good, man. He was funny. He was like really loose. He was great talking about, and you can check out the whole thing, JAKIBsports.com and JAKIB Sports YouTube network. But he was great talking about just how big you're talking about a gigantic man himself, but talking about how big
6'6".
Yeah. He's like, dude, Mailata, are you kidding me? Jordan Davis,
Dickerson.
Are you kidding me? Dickerson, like these guys are just built different, man. Different breeds. It's amazing.
Dude, his comment about these SOBs are from the Jurassic era. Oh my goodness. And of course we put the quote out on social media. It got over like 4,100 likes. Dude, that was funny when he said that. They're from the Jurassic era. I'm like,
it's awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. So we do have Adam Kaplan today. Adam Kaplan's going to be joining us at 1:30. And Adam, it's great to talk NFL with him in general and Eagles in general, Derek, but he also does his own tour of various camps around the league. So we'll get the inside info on what he saw up close and personal at a bunch of different camps, man.
Dude, when I texted him earlier in the week, last week, asked him about this week. One day he's in the Bay Area covering the 49ers. Next day he's in Tampa covering the Buccaneers. I'm like, dude, do you ever go home at training camp? He's all over the country, man.
Yeah. He's been doing that for years. So
my goodness, yes.
Yeah, he's a great resource, man, to tap into. So we'll be talking to him. That'll be 1:30. Like I said, Barrett will be hopping on, momentarily. He's just got some other stuff he's got to take care of. And again, he was at Eagles practice today. So a couple things from Eagles practice. Let's start with the big one here, Derek. So Nick Sirianni mentioning that starters will play. He didn't put an exact number on it, and he doesn't say it will be every one of them. But he said some starters would play in this game a couple series or whatever, somewhere in that neighborhood. So look, I'm excited. I'm encouraged. I'm a little bit leery with Hurts behind center with a rookie and Cam Jurgens, not Kelsey.
Right.
Worries me a little bit, but I'm really glad. And what's up, Mama Brooks? We see you. What's up, Jilly Shakes? Adam Exploits. I'm excited to see this, to see what it looks like. What's up, Shizio and John? But with these guys out there playing, man, we get to see them a little bit. I think it's a good idea.
Well, considering the volume of players that are currently on the injury report, you wonder how many starters are going to play. But, I think it's good. You have to get these starters out here. Now, Jalen Hurts is in the second year of Sirianni's system, so he's still evolving. He's got a new weapon at wide receiver in A.J. Brown. You look at the defensive personnel, you've got Bradbury in the corner. You've got Hassan Reddick. You got Kazir White. You got Nakobe Dean. So these guys need to get those game reps. Not so much Reddick because he's a proven veteran, but the younger guys in terms of getting out there. You got Marcus Epps. I want to see what it looks like. Barrett's been raving about Marcus Epps. I want to see it. And, get them out there for a series or two. Now, obviously, you're going to whet people's appetite because I don't see them throwing the football much. I see, them working on the running game. I expect Jalen to throw a couple of passes just to whet people's appetite, but you're not going to see much of. They're only going to be out there. Aaron Rodgers said it yesterday in practice. He said, "I see no sense in going out there for one or two series in a preseason game for 4 or 5 plays. It does nothing basically for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who knows Matt LaFleur's offense inside and out." But the benefit there is Aaron Rodgers is playing with a bunch of young receivers. He doesn't have a security blanket anymore in Devontae Adams, who's moved on to the Raiders now. But for a guy like Jalen Hurts and those weapons, you need some game continuity, for however long it's going to be. And I would imagine they're going to play a little bit the second game and then shut them down completely for that last game.
I would agree. I think you get a series or two here, maybe
a quarter,
maybe in the second one. Yeah. The second one's like the third one, what it used to be. And then, you're right. The the third game now is just guys battling for roster spots. Essentially is what that's going to
be. And keep your fingers crossed, because when you look at some of the players who've gone down, like Mekhi Becton for the Jets, he's out for the season with a fractured kneecap. You got the kid Kaheem Turner for the Browns. He was an all-pro returner. Jakeem.
Grant.
Is it Grant? Okay.
I think it's Grant.
He basically tore his ACL. He's done. You know, so you got to be careful, man. But more importantly, you need to get the work in. You got to get that work in. You know, you don't want to see him coming out the gate sluggish like last year.
Right. And I get people's argument of, hey, it's too much of a risk and all this other stuff. I just think, you know, considering how new Hurts is, how young Hurts is, as many reps as you can give him before the season gets started, I think is a good thing. And I don't think you're going to get crazy with it. I think he's going to put him at risk. It'll be probably I would guess the ball's going to be coming out of his hands pretty quickly, or just throw it away. You're not going to mess around. Maybe 3 passing attempts. I don't know, something like. Look, if you're in a sustained drive, I think everything depends on how it goes. If you're busting off big chunks here in that first drive, or Gunner, if they have a really good first drive as an offense, see it.
Go down the field, score.
Yeah,
that might be it. But see, when you play your regulars in the first game, it's twofold. You know, you go out there, and if somebody significant gets hurt, the fan base is screaming, "You never should have played the regulars." Yeah. Now, if they don't play the regulars any of the preseason games and they come out sluggish against a team like Detroit, first thing that goes to show you they should have played some of the preseason. So you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
But I think it's beneficial, especially when you have a new coach or a coach with the team he's still evolving with, that you get these regulars some reps in your scheme. Jonathan Gannon getting some reps with the new pieces that he has on defense. Nick Sirianni getting his offense, his line, his backs, getting them some reps. You know, A.J. Brown getting him in the mix with Jalen Hurts. I think that Quez Watkins getting some reps, significant reps. I think it's beneficial to have those guys out there. You know, even when you play at full speed, when you're practicing against somebody else, it's controlled. It's still controlled. Mm-hmm. You know, here you just let it fly. You know?
Yeah, and I think too, it's just, look, the speed of this thing. I know they're replicating it in practice. I understand that they'll be replicating it in some of these joint practices too. But you know, this is real now. It's the first. You know, I'm talking about in the preseason game. That's, to me, is invaluable that you're able to get that kind of speed, and that game speed, and the replication of what it's as close as it's going to get to September 11th. And I think the other thing is, maybe Nick Sirianni's looking at it like, all right, let me get these guys a little bit of game taste this week. We're going to get a ton of it in the open practices with the Dolphins and the Browns. As we move forward here, because Derek, let's face it, we're still about a month away here from this thing getting real.
Absolutely.
So they have a while. Yeah,
absolutely. And so you're going to have that down. You're going to have like 2 weeks where they're not going to get any game reps at all,
Yeah.
And you're right. That's for a proven team that's bringing back its core group, doesn't hurt them as much because they know each other. They know what they're going to do. They know how, when a quarterback looks at a wide receiver, they already have that unspoken, look between them. If they're going to run a skinny post or, a quick out or whoever the case may be, depending on what the coverage gives them. But for guys who are still learning each other and trying to get on the same page, you got Marcus Epps back there now with Bradbury over here and Reddick here and Kazir White on that side, and whether it's Harris or Tart opposite Marcus Epps, it's important to get that down, to get some kind of fluidity going back there.
Yeah, and look, maybe they're looking at it like Cam Jurgens may have to go week 1. So let's give him a little bit of game action taste here for this. Now, the good news is Nick Sirianni said today, it was funny. He was like, well, what's Kelsey's streak up to? I think it's 122 games. I'd bet 122. On that guy. Oh, yeah. He said, I'd bet on that guy being ready to go week 1. So you hear that, you're saying to yourself, okay, the Eagles feel pretty confident that this scope that Kelsey got isn't a huge deal. So that's a good thing to hear. But, you never know when you're rehabbing these things.
No.
And you don't want to rush that guy. If it takes an extra week or two, okay, I want Kelsey for the long run. So Cam Jurgens may be going week 1 in Detroit. You never know.
Plus, when you start to rehab, and sometimes you try to extend it a little bit just to see where it is, and you might irritate it a little bit more, set you back a few days, so on and so forth. But Sirianni also said that I've never been around a player as tough as Jason Kelsey. So, and I've known Kelsey for a long time. I would bet money on him being out there that first week. But if there's any gray area in this scope that he just had, I'm pulling the plug on him. I mean, it's Detroit, number 1, and it's the first game of the season. There's a lot of football to be played, and I'd hate to have him get out there and do something that could sit him out 6, 7, 8 games down the road.
And look, sometimes you have to, the toughest job you have as a coach is, just protecting these guys against themselves, because they're warriors. They want to do anything they can to get back out there, even if they're not right. And this is where you got to trust the training staff and the coaches to say, look, dude, sorry. I know we love you that you want to be out there, but you're not
exactly.
You got to take your time here on this thing. So that's a challenge.
Especially guys who are fighting for jobs, they'll say anything to get out in the field. They want to get their game tape. If they feel they're a borderline player, they want their game tape to show some other teams as well. So I understand that. You're trying to survive. And there's only 1,700 plus jobs in this profession. Yeah. So it's not a lot.
I'll never forget John Runyon. I was doing a radio show. He was still playing for the Eagles, and we would do a thing every Monday night. We do a show, and you remember he cracked his tailbone?
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
I mean, just think about if you're just a regular person trying to get around in life, either walking or even sitting, how painful that is, right?
Absolutely.
Runyon kept playing through it, right? So we're doing a show, and he's in real pain, man. Like, he's trying to just sit there and do half of it. He'd have to stand up and do it. And I'm like, John, off the air. I'm like, dude, what? Like, just, it's okay. Like, you can miss a couple of. Nope. There's always somebody coming to get your job, man. I will not sit out if I can at all go. I'm true. Wow. This dude.
John Runyon was a special breed, man. That dude. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what he played through with ankle injuries, knee injuries. The tailbone fracture. Just to get up and get ready for games. But that dude did not miss a game, man. He was out there and played at a maximum level every time, no matter what his injury was.
Yeah, he was tough. And these guys, Kelsey's just along the same lines, man. And you know what? Trey Thomas, we had Trey on a month ago, whatever it was.
Yep.
Trey had only missed 3 games his entire career. These guys did not miss football games. They were just tough dudes, man. That's for sure. All right. Speaking of one of the guys who preseason games are going to be important too, that's Jalen Reagor, Gunner. And he met with the media today. And I thought it was interesting. He said, look, I want to be here basically the rest of my career. But I also understand it's a business. And he had a good day today by all accounts. And he's had a pretty decent camp, for the most part.
Right.
He's looked better this year by far than he's looked any of his, his third year with the Eagles.
Third year.
By far the best that he's looked. So, what that means, does it mean that he's possibly trade bait? Does it mean he's just battling because he wants to be on the field? He is still listed as their primary return man, which we know is not exactly a strength of this team. This team's got a lot of depth in a lot of areas you like. I don't love the return game. So, I don't know, but I think it was interesting to hear him say, basically, I've been humbled a little bit. You come in as a number 1 overall pick. Now you're back up. He was with the ones today because Devontae Smith is still out with that groin. Right. I would highly doubt you see Devontae Smith on Friday, but
I hope not.
I'm with you. So, maybe there's some accountability, and maybe it's kind of sinking in a little bit for Reagor, just where things are right now for him.
I think the light switch finally went on for him. I mean, look what happened after they drafted him. The next year, they go out and get Devonta Smith. Okay, and then this year they add A.J. Brown. So, he starts out as this number 1. It doesn't pan out for him first year or the second year. The Eagles keep adding a better group of talent. I think he understands that this is a do or die training camp for him in terms of being with this organization. Quez Watkins, we believe, will continue to emerge, from what he did last year. And it's a numbers game also. He looks around, he sees Greg Ward standing over there. He sees the other young guys who are hungry, trying to, the Coveys, trying to make this team as well. So the light switch has finally gone on to him. And the coach put him on notice as well, told him, you are fighting for a roster spot.
I love that Sirianni did that, Derek. He didn't pussyfoot around this. He didn't, he just came right out and said it. And that to me, I like that as a motivational tool.
Yeah, you're not given anything. Your first round status means absolutely nothing at this point. We're trying to put the best team we can possibly put together. Now, either you're on board or you will be a deletion before we hit the regular season. And so I'm sure, Jalen had to look in the mirror and say, okay, it's my time to shine, whatever the case may be. Now, I saw a depth chart report that says he's the first returner for the game Friday night.
Correct.
Okay, so one of his biggest weaknesses has been in the return game. So, we haven't heard much about him in there, obviously, because you don't do much in practice. But let's see how he handles that, if nothing else, first and foremost, in terms of fielding the ball and making judgments when the ball's coming his way. That's the two biggest criteria for a returner. Catch the ball, make the proper decision, whether you call the fair catch or you feel you have enough distance between you and the oncoming pursuit to try to make a move and get us additional yards. So, he knows he's unnoticed. He knows all eyes are watching him.
Well, think about it. If now they may go with Quez, but if they start 3 wideouts, well, actually Pascal will probably start. But anyway, he's going to get a lot of reps in the receiving game with Devontae out. And I'd give him the entire first half maybe to return punts and kicks just to see what it looks like. I mean, absolutely. You might get a heavy dose of Covey and those guys after that. Absolutely. But I would go early, Rager. Show me, man. Show me you want to be here and you belong here. So
yeah, I would put him on kickoff return also. Let's just see. He's got the speed. Let's see if he has the physical attributes, the mental attributes to handle kickoff return as well. And if I was him, I would want to do it. Anything and everything I can do that could enhance my value to this team. I mean, you came out and said that you want to be here for the rest of your career. First of all, it's very rare. Even a top receiver is going to be with the same team for the rest of their career. I mean, you look at Julio Jones, these days, one of the best that ever played it. He didn't finish his career down in Atlanta. Right. Look at DeAndre Hopkins. He didn't finish his career down in Houston. Mm-hmm. Things happen, So, but if nothing else, the bottom line, you got to think about longevity and trying to make as much money you can in a short amount of time as you can, because once you're done, you're done. And that money you make, unless you have a plan B in terms of already have a business going or something else lined up, that's a drastic, significant drop off from making NFL money compared to making real life money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, what you hope is I would hope it would happen last year, but at least if at some point, if he's humbled a little bit look, when they go out and they sign or trade, for AJ Brown, right. You already have Devontae Smith, who had a really good rookie year. They bring in Zach Pascal. They're sending you I don't think they're doing it. They want to get their team better, but if it isn't sending you a message that they're getting legitimate studs in here, I don't know what else does, if you're Jalen Reagor.
Exactly.
What else? Yeah, Derek, the other part is you mentioned I think you made a great point there. Not only could he not be an Eagle, but let's say he goes somewhere else and he's giving similar productivity. You could be out of the league very young, man. You could be 27, 28 years old, and all of a sudden, wait, I got to find a real job here?
Yeah, exactly.
And they pay what at this job as opposed to what I was making? Yep. So, it's there for you, man. I really think they want him to make this team because they don't want the dead cap hit and all that kind of stuff. Yep. But at best, you're a fifth. At best, that's just where it is.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how he handles it, because he's one of those guys he's going to play in all 3 preseason games. He has to. Yep. They have to make a definitive determination on what he is or what he is not. Is he a fit for this team, or do we have somebody else pressing him that we may like a little bit better than him? He has to have the mindset when training camp is all said and done, when preseason is all said and done, and the coaches sit behind closed doors and start whittling down that final roster, I make it very difficult for them to delete me from the overall equation going into the regular season. Now, unfortunately, considering the quarterbacks he's going to be playing with for much of the preseason, he may not get the looks, he may not get the numbers that he wants, he may not get the opportunities that he wants. But if he's running his proper routes, if he's making his blocks, if he's not making mistakes on the return game, okay, that bodes well for him in terms of Howie Roseman not wanting to give up on just a 3-year first-round pick just yet. But anything less than that, it makes it very easy for them to say, okay, this was on you. We gave you every opportunity possible. It just didn't work out. Good luck to you in your future endeavors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm in total agreement with you. I think that's the position that he's in. And I also think, as much as these preseason games where we all kind of roll our eyes, let's just get through them. For someone like him, it's enormous. He goes out there and he balls out. And I don't care if it's against the 2s or the 3s. Go play against who you're facing and tear it up and show that you belong here. If that's the case, then you don't feel as bad. You're not saying to yourself, man, the only reason he's here is because of where he was drafted or whatever. At least at that point, you feel like you may belong. All right. So here's what we have coming up. As I mentioned, Adam Kaplan will be at 1:30. Barrett will be hopping on. We think in the next segment, we'll get his observations of camp today. A couple things that we're going to hit, Derek, which I find interesting. Pose the question and start all of our listeners and streamers and chat rooms start thinking about it now. Who do you have the most belief in? Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon. So you have the head coach and the two principals here, your two coordinators right there. We'll also dive into under the radar Eagles. We talk about a lot of different guys, and rightfully so, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. There are other guys that are really good players or could be keys that we don't really get into too much. So today we're gonna give a little love and little shine to those guys. Phillies won again, Gunner, 6 in a row, my man. They are just in fuego, 11 of 12.
Look at you. You're grinning like a Cheshire cat.
I'm glowing. We'll get in that. And Keith Hernandez, the Mets broadcaster.
Oh yeah.
Took a little shot, little shot, veiled, not even veiled. It was pretty overt. Adam Kaplan around the NFL. A couple things we're going to do. Week 4 is another really good week in the NFL. We're trying to preview up until the season begins each week what the big games are. So we'll get into that. You mentioned a key injury for the Browns. There's a couple other injuries. I want to get your review. You've watched the first Hard Knocks. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Detroit. Okay.
Yep.
Because I got to tell you, Gunner, a little scary that team for week 1. I've
been telling you guys this. You're not listening to me. I keep telling you.
No, I'm there, man. I'm concerned. So we'll talk about that. Some extensions in the league. Sean McVay, Les Snead, the GM of the Rams. Roger Goodell it makes it pretty obvious how he feels about the Deshaun Watson situation. We'll get into that and a bunch of other stuff. So don't go anywhere. Again, Barrett, Adam Kaplan. He's D Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk finances now and knowing who to trust with your finances. You don't work that hard to not be able to be comfortable later in life or to invest right now to help your family out. I got the perfect person, and that's Jim Murray of Principal Financial Group. I've entrusted him with my IRA, my 401k rollover, but for you, it could be anything. It could be your 401k. It could be an IRA. It could be an insurance review. It could be getting a benefits off the ground for the business that you have. Whatever the case may be, he can help. And if you're not really sure, you can reach out to him as well, and he'll let you know what direction to go or if he can help you out. 610-996-4751. That's how you reach him, 610-996-4751. Or you can drop him an email at Murray, murray.jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
7 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
The glass is for cocktails, right?
It's for this, 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 and that.
Is the length of the glass equal to your...
You betcha.
But is it made out of...
Glass?
Okay, but is the rip...
Smooth?
Will you stop doing...
That?
I'm the professional here.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. All from the company that's highly awarded. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and deliciously tasting vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Welcome on in. Welcome on back, everybody. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this Wednesday. I had to think for a minute what day it was, Gunner. I don't know. We're getting through a hump day. There you go. I usually hit with a hump day early. Maybe I'm lax in my hump day. You're muted. You're muted. Get off mute, Barrett, get off mute. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The first two shows this week have been off the charts, dude.
Oh
so
my God.
Anything is open season from this point on for the rest of the week. We've had a bizarre week already, man.
Yeah.
But it was fun, a lot of fun.
I always I'll sit there after I'll be doing something else. I'm like, that segment, I forget, one of the segments we had yesterday was just outrageous, man. What was the day Barrett's like, I'll whoop some monkey ass? Was that this week or last week? We were talking about the monkey.
That was last week.
Taking the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
And so I saw a video of that. It's crazy. But I was wondering, I said, wait a minute. Because when I looked at the video once, I'm like, oh, my goodness, this is crazy. This monkey grabbed this kid, just dragged him down a walkway for about 20 feet. And then the people scared it off. And then I'm looking at some of the captions under, and it said, hey, was that monkey riding a bike? And I looked at the monkey. I looked at it again. This monkey was riding like a mini bike. I'm like, wait a minute, that's got to be doctored. That can't be true. But the story is true. But that could not be true. A monkey riding a bike rides in, grabs the kid by his collar right from under the people sitting there. The people just sit there looking. I'm like, your first reaction is to jump up. And no, these people are sitting there going, oh. So that video had to be doctored.
I don't know, man. These monkeys, man, you're getting dangerous. I don't know who's teaching them this stuff, but they're getting dangerous. That's for sure. Hey, I have a TV recommendation for you.
Yeah.
I knocked it out. My wife and I watched it over the weekend and into Monday, I guess it was. Yeah. It's called Blackbird. Okay. Now, the premise of it's only 6 episodes. It's on Apple TV.
Okay.
So the premise is, this guy, and it's based on true events and true story, inspired by true story. So this guy was a really good high school football player, had like 4 Division I scholarships. I think he went and just kind of flamed out right away in his college career, and became a drug dealer and arms dealer. Okay,
what
I think it was in the Chicago area is where he was operating out of. So anyway, he gets busted. Okay. So he thinks he's pleading to a deal that I don't want to give too much away. That's going to be much shorter sentence than what he gets. He ends up getting 10 years. Okay.
Right.
He's put away, but he's also kind of a charming guy who, you could see how he did well in that business, just kind of working people and manipulating people and all this other stuff. So long story short, there's a serial murderer in kind of near the area. Okay. They make a deal with this guy. We'll commute your entire 10-year sentence if you go to this prison for the criminally insane, buddy up to this dude, and find out if he did it and where he buried the bodies. Okay?
Wow.
Because this guy was about to appeal his conviction, was probably going to get it appealed, the murderer. So anyway, it's 6 episodes. It's called Blackbird. It's Ray Liotta's final performance before he passed away.
Okay.
He's in it. Greg Kinnear. And the guy, Taylor Egerton, he played Elton John in Elton John's biopic. Okay. He's British, but he has, he does have the British accent in this. So if you want, it's very good. You would dig it. I'm telling you, it's on Apple TV.
All right.
So check it
I got to
out.
watch it now. Now you piqued my interest.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a sports football angle to it early on. So I thought that was interesting. Like I said, Barrett's going to be joining us soon. We got 1:30, Adam Kaplan coming up. So let me ask you this, Derek. Let's start with the question that we posed before we went to break in terms of belief. So you have Nick Sirianni, you have Shane Steichen, you have Jonathan Gannon. I actually think of the three, the one who probably gets the most attention is Gannon. Yep. At least for the Philadelphia fan base.
I agree.
Steichen would be a far third, and then it's Sirianni, which is weird considering he's a head coach. So if I pose that question to you with those three guys going into this year, based off of what you saw last year and the talent that they have on each side of the ball, who is it for you? Which one do you have the greatest belief in?
The greatest belief in, I would have to say Sirianni. Sirianni is the maestro of this. Sirianni is like the warden, so to speak. He's the one who is responsible for the actions of Steichen and Gannon. He is responsible for the architect work of the offense, how it will function, although his first lieutenant, Steichen, will implement the game plan. He's the one that has to ask all the questions of all the coordinators and the coaches. What are we doing here? How are we doing this correctly? I mean, this is his show. He's the one that sold the bill of goods to Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman to hire him as a head coach. Now he has to show that he is that leader. He immediately won the players over, and new players that have come in. Anytime new players come in, one of the first things they want to ask is, "How's the coach?" And the players give him glowing reviews because of how he treats them, how he knows when to back off, how he knows when to push. He's not afraid to get in certain people's faces when he needs to get things done. So this is his show. We can scream and holler and yell at Gannon and Steichen all we want when things don't go right. But the bottom line is that man has to step in front of the masses and explain what went right, what went wrong, and why every day, every time he's required to speak to the media. So we hang on his every word more so than the coordinator's words in a lot of ways, because this is his baby. He assembled his staff. The ownership has given him now enough toys to make the product that surprised a lot of us last year that much better. And so moving forward, when the GM asks questions, the first person they're asking is the head coach. So I would say definitely he has shown that he can be a head coach in the National Football League. He has shown that he can adapt on the fly as he did last season, switching exclusively from a passing game to a running game. And he has shown that he can lead men who are paid seven-figure incomes. He can, and let's call it for what it is. He can lead men of color. When you consider over 70% of the league is of African-American descent, he can lead men of color. They gravitate towards him. Okay. So they all believe in him. So
interesting point.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. The pyramid starts with him. Plain and simple.
Oh, look, I think the toughest guy to get a handle on for me is Steichen. Like you said, he may be the guy who facilitates this and implements it, but Sirianni's got a lot of input, right, when it comes to what the offensive game plan is going to look like. Yes. And they've even said, look, if there's a situation where Steichen said this, if coach wants to jump in and start calling a play or two, he does it. So just to be clear, it's not like Nick is totally hands off with that. But I just don't know, Derek. Like, I don't know if I give him a ton of credit last year for knowing, hey, we can't keep trying to force feed this passing game. We got to start running. I think there's some credit to be given, but it was pretty obvious that's the only way they were going to win last year, right? Now that he's got the tools, I want to see what Steichen looks like as an offensive coordinator with a guy who hopefully should be able to pass the ball. The other part of this is too, and this goes to Sirianni and Steichen, developing Jalen Hurts, getting him better, making him better. Okay. They've given him the tools, I think, with players, but you got to develop him as a player, because we've seen a million different quarterbacks over the years end up in a bad system and they just kind of die on the vine there. And others go to a good system who maybe aren't the greatest and just flourish. So I think a lot of it has to do with that. So my answer isn't Steichen would come in last for me just because I don't have a good feel for him at all. Right. Now, you make all your points are dead on about Sirianni. And I think the buying in part, especially last year when you were 2-5 from veterans, was enormous, because that's where it could really go off the rails. Where if guys are like, dude, plants and what is he talking? We're 2-5, man. Like,
exactly.
Give me a break. But they didn't do that. So I think that's huge. Look, you're going to think I'm nuts. I believe in Gannon. I've listened to him enough where I hear this guy and I'm like, either he's the best.
Let me write this down. Rob believes in Gannon.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Because there's two things going on. Either he's the greatest salesman ever, where he could just charm the pants off of anybody.
Right.
Or this dude is really smart, really with it, really gets it. Like I don't think he did enough last year to earn all these interviews either. But I understand where if he sat down in front of you, you'd kind of come away like,
right,
dude was pretty impressive. Like just hearing him. Now that said, he's got to do it on the field. It's all well and good to sound great in a setting where you're in front of a GM or whatever, or an owner, but you got to be able to get it done when it comes to that. So I'm going to go Sirianni on this. I have a lot of faith with the weapons they gave him, with his acumen, that he's going to be good, because the league does value him. He was a hot commodity, coming over here to begin with, where a lot of other teams were going after him. So I'm going to go Sirianni in this.
Anytime anybody
I'm sorry, Gannon. Sorry.
Oh, you're going to go Gannon. Okay.
Yes.
Anytime anybody has asked me about Gannon, my constant line has been wait and see, because we don't know. We have given him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't have the personnel that he wanted to do some of the things we assumed he wanted to do last year. Mm-hmm. And it cost the defense in a lot of ways. Well, the overall product has been enhanced twofold now with the personnel Howie Roseman has brought in during the offseason, as well as the draft. I mean, you got a third-round guy. You got a third-round guy linebacker that was projected as a first-round guy, as well as a first-round pick in a freight train in Jordan Davis. You made the move also to get A.J. Brown in here as well. So you had a great haul in this draft. You got the heir apparent, we assume, in Cam Jurgens in for Jason Kelsey. So when it comes to Gannon, I don't know. It's the unknown factor. What exactly is his game plan? And obviously, he's not going to tip his hand, as with any coordinator, they're not going to tip their hand. So I don't know about Gannon. I know what we saw in Sirianni under 1 year. You're right. He made the comment about flowers, and we were all snickering, but he got the last laugh. Mm-hmm. Okay, in that regard. So we know where Sirianni is. So I think Sirianni head and shoulders right now, when you base it on those three, Sirianni head and shoulders for me, I have more confidence in than the other two.
All right, to answer Dominique's question, how does Rob believe in Gannon but has to see it with Hurts? Why don't you see it with Gannon?
It's a good question.
Why don't you have to see it with Gannon? All right, here's the answer. Because you're talking about a defense last year that didn't have a legitimate pass rusher, that had a secondary other than Slay that was not up to speed, that had a linebacking core other than TJ Edwards, who really came on at the end of the year last year, that was way below standard.
Right.
In a lot of ways, you can coach guys up, but a coach is only as good as the players that he has. My faith in Gannon is based on a couple things. They still, by the way, they were still middle of the pack in points allowed. They were not a bad points per game given
up. 22 points a game,
which is key, right? Jim Johnson used to say 17 and we win every game or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they were middle of the pack with really, I think, porous talent. There's a lot of talent now. And I think he's going to be able to do more than he did. Now, the argument with Hurts is, well, he only had Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. Maybe. But he also had a great offensive line. He had a quality running game. He did have Devontae Smith. He did have Dallas Goedert. I think they owed him at least one more receiver, and they got him a big-time one in A.J. Brown, excuse me. So I think for all those reasons, Hurts will be improved, but I'm not sure he's going to elevate to that next level. I'm basing this on what I saw from Gannon last year, plus the talent that he was given as a coach that he's going to be able to work with, because it's going to unlock that conservatism that we saw with him last year. I think is going to be swept away. I think he's going to be a lot more aggressive. I think you're going to see more blitzing. I think he's going to be more creative in his schemes. Derek, they're going to be a really tough team to defend because they have the ability to be multiple. And I know people sometimes say, what do you mean by that? Well, they can give you odd man fronts, even man fronts. They can go that 2-5 look or that 2-7 look, or they can do a lot of different things is what I'm trying to say. And you can disguise a lot of things when you can do that. I think for all of those reasons, it's going to lead to a lot of success. I look at it now. I see a double-digit sack guy in Hassan Reddick. I see a shutdown corner in Slay. I see the best linebacking core I can remember in forever with this team. Not to mention Jordan Davis and Brandon Graham being back. And look, Lane Johnson yesterday told us how unbelievable Josh Sweat has looked.
Absolutely.
So far. So there's depth there with this team. So for all those reasons, that's why I went Gannon to answer the question.
Well, see, everything you mentioned, I don't disagree with. But that's the question mark. See, Hassan Reddick was a double-digit sack guy in a different system.
Yep.
How many players do we see go from one system to the next system and not be as productive in the next system as he was in the previous system?
Yeah.
How is he going to utilize all these toys at his disposal now? And you got like 20 seconds to make decisions on personnel groupings, who you're going to bring in and bring out without wasting a timeout, especially at a crucial point of a game. Can he do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, he didn't have those weapons last year. Now he's got a plethora of weapons that he can deploy at any given moment. How is he going to utilize that? So that's why I said, because of my uncertainty with Gannon, but we saw what Sirianni was, even though it was a 18-game sample, we saw what Sirianni can do. We've heard the players time and time again talk about how he's a player's coach. We've seen how he handles veteran players. He knows when to give them days off. He knows when to push them. He can be one of the boys. He wears the goofy T-shirts, with the players' pictures on it. Players gravitate towards that stuff. So he knows how to be that authoritative figure as well as be one of the boys. That's a fine line to walk.
You're right.
Sometimes, not many coaches can do that. You're either a hard-nosed coach or you're a player's coach. Okay? But Doug Peterson was like that. Doug Peterson knew, because Doug Peterson played the game at the highest level, Doug Peterson knew how to read players as a head coach. Sirianni, we found out that he knew how to read players as a head coach.
I agree. I
don't know with Gannon what he can and cannot do. Barrett has broken it down very well. We've discussed it very thoroughly, what we believe that he's going to do. But until I see it, I don't know what to expect from this man.
I think it's fair. I'll admittedly, some of it is leap of faith. I mean, it's not all based off of what you saw last year. Some of it is just sort of like projecting, and that's kind of where I'm at. But it's fair game. Like, I think it's an interesting argument. Maybe we don't give Steichen enough love. Maybe we should give him more credit if the offense looks good. I feel like, Derek, even if the offense looks really good this year, we'll give all the credit to Sirianni probably. It won't even be Steichen.
Yeah.
Hey, that's just kind of them's the breaks, as they say. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of surprise guests, look at this. Look what we have.
I'm a guest now.
It's Buford. What's your name? Buford?
Barney, Billy.
Barney, Billy. What's your name?
Brandon.
I can't win for you losing with you guys. I'm a guest. You don't know my name. I tell you what, man, how you guys just, you're letting what, an hour and 50 minutes just
change everything. And by the way, where are you, in the supply closet? What's going on there? Really? Like, where did they stick you? Yeah, all right.
I'm actually I'm upstairs.
Okay.
I'm in the
oh, there you go.
In the offices. Yeah.
That looks a lot better. A lot better. You look a lot better with the glass behind you.
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, that looks a lot better. Yeah.
Well, you need a little sun glare, but no big deal.
Right?
No big
deal.
We like your Star Wars shirt. That's cool. So, all right, let me ask you, Barrett. We were just throwing this around. Now, were you at practice today, or were you not able to get down there?
No, I was in practice. Yeah, I was in practice.
All right, well, let's start there. Give us your impressions of what you saw, and I know the big thing coming out of that is the starters are going to get a little bit of time on Friday against the Jets.
Yes.
So let's start.
They're like 2 series, which 2 series could equate to maybe even a full quarter. Considering the fact, how things are going. If things go right, those long drives you usually do when you run the ball successfully.
Right.
Usually have long drives. So maybe they do get an entire quarter. I just want to see, this offense for once go out there and let's see what they can do. Today in practice, it was only an hour, not even an hour, it's 50 minutes. Got in, got their work done. Hurts looked very, very good in practice. The defense, I think the offense won today. I tell you what, man, 11 is a beast, man. I don't know where they got Brown from. I mean, if they took him out of molten rock or whatever, but he looks good, man. I mean, he's catching everything you throw at him. He's going to be such a viable asset. Like I told you, what was the word I used on Monday? Trust. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The trust factor. Those two trust each other. And the biggest thing hurts trust that Brown's going to catch the ball. And that's the biggest thing, man. Once you got that trust, you don't feel like you're delayed in pulling the trigger because you know your guy will go get it. He gives you a more forgiving catch radius. Now, everybody used to talk about huge catch radius. He's got, long arms. No, he gives a forgiving catch radius, meaning he can throw a very forgiving ball. Yep. And they know that wide receiver go get it and catch it regardless. Yep. It's no longer 50-50 balls when you're dealing with him. It's 70-30 balls. So that was good. I'll tell you, Minshew had a pretty good practice. Even though he did throw a pick. They showed a little pony, pony with two running backs. Now, both,
who was it? Was it Miles and Boston Scott or Miles and Gainwell? Who was it? Who were the two running backs?
No, both Gainwell and Scott are out right now.
Oh, okay.
They're both out. So it was
Huntley?
Huntley. It was Huntley, him and Huntley.
Okay.
Now they ran a play, but it got blown up, So,
all right.
I mean, still just having that 12 personnel, 21 personnel, two running backs, one tight end. That's hard for defenses to really throw out a defense to combat that. What do you get a passing defense out there because they might throw the ball, then you run the ball, or it could be a run defense and they can pass the ball on you. So that's really hard. It's just like 12 personnel. It's really hard to defend those type of things. Defensively, I'll tell you what, those cornerbacks are good, man. All three of them are good, man. I mean, really, really good. And the guys in back of them, Epps had another, great practice. Watch a little bit of Nakobe Dean. He's getting it. He's finally getting it. He's starting to be where he's supposed to be. I mean, they didn't have any pads on. You really didn't know what he was going to do when he got there, but he's where he's supposed to be at. He's covered who he's supposed to cover. It doesn't look like the game's too big for him anymore. He's starting to fall into place, and he's going to be okay. Offensive line look good. They're getting guys back.
How'd Juergens look at with the ones at center?
Great, because you really can't do it. You really can't say anything how they're going to play or anything else when they're when they don't have any pads on. Once again, it's just a speed walkthrough when you do that. So, but I mean, they did look good. They look crisp. I'll tell you what, Sweat might have double digits this year. You heard it first right here.
Yeah, Lane Johnson was singing his praises yesterday, Barrett. We were just talking about that. He's due. I think he gets it for the full 17 as opposed to he kind of get him in spurts sometimes early. He's he could be monstrous for this team.
Right. So he's gonna be good. What are the negatives? Hurts still needs to get going. He still needs to go through his progressions a little bit faster, but he's going through them faster than he did before. He understands where guys are supposed to be at. He sees things. He's not afraid to throw the ball. But still, though, I think if he pulls the trigger just a little bit faster, things will be a lot easier for him, and it'll open up this offense a lot more. You know what I'm saying? It'll open up a lot more. And he's looking good, man. He's looking really, really good. You know what? I don't know what's going on special teams. I mean,
what do you mean?
Like who's going to be returning? Britton Covey may make this team.
They had Rager listed as first on the return game, which is interesting. It tells me they're giving him every chance possible to make this team.
That's what they're going to do because he's a first round pick.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So they're going to give him every opportunity possible to make the squad. I mean, first round pick, you're going to get that. But there's little things, like I was sitting there watching. I was watching with Dave Zangaro, and they were doing this little drill where punt return. So they'll give them a ball, they'll punt it up, and while they're punting it, just before the ball gets to them, they throw the ball they have in their hand up in the air, catch the punt, and still go catch the ball they threw in the air.
Oh man!
And Covey was the only one that could do it. He's the only one to do it.
You know what you notice with him, and again, I am not down there like you are. I just see highlights. He looks very smooth in his catch, in the mechanics of everything. He looks smooth.
even at the receiver position, he looks comfortable in there. Man. I'm telling you, he might be and I'm not just saying it because he's a white guy, but I'm just saying he could be the next Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, you know what I'm saying? That type of player. Smallerish wide receivers that fit in the slot, that play fast, play quick. He could be that guy.
Cole Beasley.
Yeah, Cole Beasley. That's exactly the framework he is. You know what I'm saying? Now, if there was small black guys that played the position, I'd say their names, but I don't see too many.
I hear
like that,
I hear it. Look, he is going to be a guy that I think they're not going to be able to hide on a practice squad. Someone's going to grab him up if that's the way it goes.
And I think that's what's going to scare him, because more opportunities he gets, he's going to take advantage of them, because he's older, man. He understands, but he's not a young pup. You know, he's a Mormon, so you know he did a
he did a mission. He's like 24, 25 years old.
Yeah. So he's older. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, he understands he has a short amount of time to maximize his experience, and he's going to make sure he's getting everything he can out of it.
Yeah. Well, where do you stand, Barry? I'm in favor of the starters getting a little touch. Some people, the injury risk is too big for them. Where are you at?
They need to get some reps. You can't.
Thank you.
To me, you can't hold yourself back. You can get injured at any time.
Yeah,
they cannot play the whole entire preseason, just like Brandon Graham did.
Right,
and still got hurt the first or second game.
Yeah,
you know, you never know. I mean, it is statistically accurate that if you're not out there, you won't get hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But how do you get the speed of the game? How do you get the offense going? Now, they came out their first game against Atlanta and blew them away, but everybody did it to Atlanta after that. We thought Atlanta was going to be good, so it kind of
their defense especially stunk.
Exactly.
At that point of the season, yeah.
So we thought it was a misconception. It was a misconception with us that they were going to be good, and they weren't good, and they were bad, and kind of filled us up a little bit.
Yep.
With, you know, false hope. But, you know, I truly believe that this team can go out there and play a lot better than what we're giving them credit for.
All right, it's going to be interesting. Well, so Hurts, okay, some things you like, some things you didn't. Brown continues to crush it. Defensively, Nakobe Dean kind of getting it a little bit here. And Reagor met with the media afterwards, and he said basically, look, it's been humbling. I still want to be here, all this other stuff. He looked good today, right? I mean, that's what we're hearing, and he's had a pretty decent camp so far.
Yes, well, at this point, he deserves to be on the field. I mean, if I'm not looking at any of the evaluations from last year, I'm just strictly looking at what he's doing right now. He belongs on this team. He's showing that he's a better wide receiver than the second half of guys they have on the team. Mm-hmm. You know, he looks like him and Covey about neck to neck, you know what I'm saying, as far as what they do. But he is better than Hightower. You know, that's not saying like
it feels like Hightower's in big trouble here. I mean, right?
They're still giving him every opportunity, though. They're still going to give him every opportunity to make the team because he's a draft pick. You know, and that's one of Howard's guys.
Yeah.
But you know, he's better than a lot of guys that on the roster. Even though the bottom half of the roster looks pretty good,
right? He's
still better than most of the guys. You know, he's better than when I look at the roster, I'm looking at he's Deion Kane. He's better than him.
Okay.
He's better than Greg Ward. You know what I mean? He's better than that guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to make it.
Wait, you think Hightower's better than Ward?
No. I'm talking about Jalen Reagor.
Reagor, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Don't be saying that, man. You gonna put that in my? Don't put my name on that, man. What you doing? Come on,
I just had to ask the question. I just wanted to clarify.
Don't do me like
That's
that,
all.
man.
I just had to clarify. That's all I'm doing.
All right, so let's come back. Let's hit it.
You only come here part time, so don't come in here raising your voice at me.
I know it doesn't take. It only takes 45 minutes for
shots fired. He forgets the name.
He played in 20 golf tournaments. He has all these other commitments. We're an afterthought, Rob. It's like the stepbrother finally arrived.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. That's how you guys gonna treat me. That's how you gonna treat me.
You guy. I got you, man. I got your back. It's your
there you go. You guy. Yeah.
It's that guy. It's the other guy. All right, so we're gonna come back. I want to hit you with. We didn't get a chance to get to it, Gunner and I. Under the radar Eagles, Barrett. Guys along the lines of Avonte.
Wait,
Maddox.
you didn't ask him the other question.
I'll ask him that too. We'll also when we get back hit you with who you have the most belief in, Sirianni, Steichen, or Gannon. Okay, I will hit you with that.
That's tough.
I'll hit you with that. We'll do all that when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, catch your breath. Barrett, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take. All right, I want to tell you about my friends at Pro Action Restoration. If you're a home or business owner, you've experienced the inconvenience of water, fire, smoke damage, whatever the case may be, reach out to Pro Action. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. They're licensed, bonded, fully insured, serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit. Glass is for cocktails, right?
It's for this, 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 and that.
Is the length of the glass equal to your...
You betcha.
But is it made out of...
Glass?
Okay, but is the rip...
Smooth?
Will you stop doing...
That?
I'm the professional here.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. All from the company that's highly awarded. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and deliciously tasting vodka. So good, it just disappears.
All right, we're back. We are Sports Take. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis with you on this Wednesday. Tomorrow marks 1 month until the Eagles season opener in Detroit against those Lions. All right, Barrett, so I want to pose 2 things to you. One, Derek and I already kicked around. I'm curious to get your answer, and then we'll all dive into the next one. But I posed the question to Derek and our audience. Which of these 3 do you have the most belief in going into the 2022 season? Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon. Who would it be for you? Mute it, Barrett.
It's kind of tough because, Nick Sirianni, as the head coach, I have a lot of faith in him, man. But I'm starting to build a lot of faith in Steichen's ability to call plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's up in the air, because I really think that he understands what he has and he can develop plays to maximize their talent. I think he's a major reason why they made the playoffs last year, because they turned around and evaluated the talent they had and moved those guys into position to play better. So it's tough with Steichen, but then you look at Gannon. Now that Gannon has his toys, it looks nothing like it looked last year. that defense looks nothing like him. In fact, you see how he's going out there and he's putting guys in different positions. You know, I mean, he's allowing guys to flourish that, you know, that they're really an afterthought to me. So I'm looking at a guy like, you know, for instance, Taron Jackson. He's explosive, gets off the ball. But then we were just talking about, you know, a guy that nobody's really talking about that's having a great camp, Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat may have a double-digit sack year. And this is going to be a part of Gannon's formula for putting guys in different positions, multiple fronts, which you can't get a beat on anybody. And, you know, he's lined up everywhere, and now he's going to become an impact player. But if I was going to say the guy that I have the most faith in, it's going to have to be Nick. I got to say Nick. Even though I laid out all that, I'm going to say Nick because Nick put Steichen in place to make sure that that offense would be running, and he took the back seat on calling the plays because he thinks the Steichen, you know, that takes a lot as a man to do, to give duties away in what you were brought here to do. That's number one. And then as far as defensively, he made sure that Howie gave him whatever he needed to be a better defensive play caller so they can compete. So I got to say it's got to be Nick. They trust Nick enough that he told him, hey, you help him out and him out. And it's working. So I'm going to go with Nick.
Okay. Whoa, we actually agreed on something?
You guys agree?
What? Oh, no, let me change mine then.
I can't believe. Hold on, this is a first. At 1:07 p.m.
Right.
Eastern Time, August 10th, Barrett and Derek on the same page. All right, I'm impressed.
But it's true. He's the orchestrator. He's the maestro behind this. All the questions that come down from ownership and in the front office go directly to him first.
Yeah.
What happened? Why isn't this working? How's Gannon looking in terms of putting his defense together? You know, why did you give Steichen a range? You feel that comfortable with him? That's the man they're asking all the questions. They're not asking Steichen and Gannon. So obviously, yes, you know, and he's proven that he can turn things around in a hurry with what he did last year. So therefore, I would have to say it's a great question. It's a difficult question to answer, but when push comes to shove, Sirianni's at the top of that list for obvious reasons. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I think there's a lot of different ways you go. I think the perception is going to change big time on Gannon by the end of the year. I don't think Steichen gets is going to get enough love no matter what. It's all going to go to Sirianni, but that's okay. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast, especially when you have an offensive coach. That's just the way it goes. All right. So underrated, under the radar, I think would be probably a better way to put it. Eagles. Okay. I jotted down a couple. I'll throw them out there. You guys tell me which ones you agree with. You want to pick up on any of them, feel free. But Avonte Maddox, who I think really came into his own as a slot, nickel last year in a great spot for him. You have Isaac Seumalo.
Cool.
Huh?
You're right, Rob. I mean, we haven't talked about Avonte Maddox when he's the third in that trifecta that, you can name him as a starter.
Yeah.
He's a starter, slot corner, man. You're right about that, man. I hadn't thought about that, but you're absolutely right.
Especially in this league, I mean, everything's, you're almost constantly in with
11 personnel.
Yeah,
11 personnel.
And I think they tried different things with him to see which is the best spot for him, but I think he really found his footing last year, and he's playing great. I mean, look, you're measuring him against a Slay and a Bradbury, who's another one who's had a great camp.
Yep.
So far. And we talked about what a good camp Epps has had. I'm so excited for the secondary, man. I can't even explain it to you. But all right, so Avonte, I threw Isaac Seumalo. I don't think that he gets enough love. I know they have depth on that offensive line. Everybody wants to kind of replace the guy, but I threw him in there. You guys want to jump in on him? I like him, I think, more than most people do.
Dude, you look at Isaac Seumalo. He never gets a lot of accolades, a lot of shine or anything, but you never hear his name during game day
ever.
And that's the mark of a good, not even a great offensive lineman, because usually when you hear a name of an offensive lineman, you're holding, you're giving up a sack. It's always a negative connotation when it comes to that. But you never hear him. He's just a guy over there doing his thing, not saying anything. And next thing you know, he's a part of the best offensive line, in the league. And he's been the focal point for the past 5 years that he's been a starter.
Yep.
He's been here, so Yeah, you have to say that he was right on the cusp before last year of becoming, I think, a Pro Bowl type of offensive lineman. I really think that, if he'd have stayed healthy and played the entire season, he'd have been mentioned as an alternate in the Pro Bowl, almost guaranteed.
Interesting. All right, so there's Seumalo. How about you, Gunnar?
I don't view Seumalo as underrated, nor do I view Avonte Maddox as underrated. Avonte Maddox has proved his mettle to this organization. If not, he wouldn't be here. When you look at the people they tried at that position over the last few years, they didn't hold out, and yet he continues. It's always going back to him. There were times they had to put him on the outside. He's just a little too short to play on the outside against these bigger receivers nowadays, and the Eagles identified that. But he's perfect for the slot, which those receivers are usually a smaller receiver. When I look at Seumalo, I think he's recognized for being that Swiss Army knife. You can plug and play him anywhere on that offensive line, which makes him that much more valuable. Unfortunately, he lost significant time last year due to an injury. But I think Seumalo is well respected around the league. I think if he was on the open market right now, he wouldn't be there more than 24 hours. No question about that, because of his ability to play multiple positions and play it at a high level.
All right, fair enough. A couple others I threw on there for underrated, under the radar, whatever the case may be. Okay. Look, TJ Edwards, all we try and do is replace this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And I get it. We're all excited for Nakobe Dean. Understood. But, he's turned himself into not just the best of a bad lot of Eagles linebackers into a good linebacker now in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Yep. He doesn't, I don't know if we look at him quite that way.
He is, it wasn't until he stepped up and really started, especially right around the Detroit game, that you really saw how good TJ Edwards was. In fact, I go so far as to say the Raiders game, the game before Detroit, where he started playing at a level in which I'm like, man, TJ Edwards really wants to be a starter. He really wants to play. He's going to mix it up. It took a long time for linebackers to play like linebackers in the system last year. I can remember watching teams with double team to three technique all the way back to the linebackers, because the linebackers were not tough enough and intense enough. And that's when they had Wilson,
right,
and those guys in there, and they would wait for blocks to get to them. It wasn't until they cut Wilson and they put TJ in there, and TJ started coming downhill and rocking those offensive linemen off the double team, which now allowed the defensive lineman to go one-on-one with a D tackle. A defensive tackle against one-on-one against an offensive guy, and then a linebacker against an offensive guy. And that double team not only filled his gap, but it also closed the hole up, because the linebacker wasn't back waiting for the play to develop in front of him. He was going downhill and activating the play and stopping it so everybody could go out there one-on-one and make plays. That's what he brought. He brought a toughness. He brought he brought a nastiness to this defense in the interior. And because of that, you saw now Fletcher's Cox start playing well. That's when Hargrave started playing well, because you couldn't just double team them guys back to linebacker, because TJ was coming downhill and laying out offensive linemen for when they were on a double team, knocking them off the blocks. Now both guys are free to make plays. Ever since then, he has been that shining light in that defense. That's when, if you saw, they started calling a more aggressive game. Gannon started calling a more aggressive game, because he relied on TJ to make sure he would bring that funk in the middle of that defense. So now that, we're going to the next year, they knew they had something. That's why Howie Roseman signed him to a deal as soon as he did. He didn't have to sign him to a deal, but he knew he had something in TJ Edwards to keep him quiet. Now he goes to this season a starter. You're not going to take that from him. I think my dog Dean going to have to play Will. He's not going to be able to play Mike, because TJ going to be a Mike linebacker for a long time here in Philly.
Okay. I'll throw another one in there. Boston Scott. For some reason, he sort of disappeared for a while last year, but then when they, broke the glass in case of emergency and he came back, the guy plays, and he's got a nose for the end zone, especially for a little dude in the red zone. I'm a huge fan, man. And I think, look, he's a great sort of backup running back, second or third guy on your team. I'm not saying he's a feature back necessarily, but he's a real good football player. I think Boston Scott, they got something there with him.
He's a giant killer also.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He's always played good against the Giants. But with the exception of that fumble against the Giants, he's always played very, very well. He runs well in between the tackles. He's actually a really good red zone, getting up, hitting yards inside when they run screens and draw plays, and even running power plays. He gets in between those offensive linemen, and he sneaks around in there. Next thing you know, he's up 5-6 yards down the field. So he plays well for his size in between the tackles. He's not one of those guys who wants to bounce it. He want to run up in there with the trees and everything that he can get by, and they don't see him. Next thing you know, he's 5 yards down the field.
Right.
Very consistent player, man. He's one of those things that, all right, a change of pace back, put him in there fresh, he'll run all over your defense.
Yeah.
For a guy who only had 87 touches last year, I mean, he averaged 4.3 yards a carry. And because of his low center of gravity, bigger players, you can't really square up on him. He has the advantage when it's about to make contact because he has that low center of gravity, and he's a wide body to be a little guy.
Yeah, he's strong.
Man, you look at his upper body and his thighs and his calves. Man, that leverage he has on that initial contact. That's why you see him bouncing off a lot of tackles where he does. When you hit him the first time, he's still churning to get to 2 or 3, 4 extra yards. And he can break off. He can break it off too if he gets an open. A lot of times you're not going to catch him from behind.
Nope.
He's the perfect compact weapon for what you need to do in certain situations. He
can catch.
And he can catch the ball as well. He only carried the ball in 2, 4, 6, 8. He only carried the ball in 8 games last year.
Yeah, there's a big stretch there where I don't know what he just kind of went bye, even though he was healthy.
He didn't even carry the ball until October 24th against the Raiders. And that was when Miles Sanders got hurt. He was a forgotten entity. We kept asking, where the heck is Boston Scott? We saw what he did the previous year and what he's capable of doing. And all of a sudden, he's a forgotten entity in the offense. But then all of a sudden he gets his chance. And all he did the whole season was produce. I'm looking at one game, against Denver, he averaged 7.4 yards a carry. Every other game, minimum, except one against New Orleans, he averaged a minimum of 3.4 yards a carry. Well, you carry the ball 3 times in a series. That's a first down every time you carry the ball.
Will they keep just 3, you guys think? I mean, at this point, is it Miles? Is it Boston? And, or is it only going to be those 3 guys, the 3 that we anticipate here, going in?
If you keep
Kenny Gainwell,
if you keep extra edge rushers, if you keep extra linebackers, one position has to suffer.
Yeah.
And I think they have enough youth in that backfield and interchangeable parts that I think going into a season, they will be comfortable with 3 backs. A lot of teams like to keep that 4th back, and who knows, but it's going to be a hard decision. If they keep 6 receivers, they keep extra linebackers, they keep an extra edge rusher, it's going to be a tough decision in terms of what position has to suffer. They're going to keep a multitude of offensive linemen. That's what they've done, for years. They love their offensive linemen. So they're going to keep extra offensive linemen on this team. So some way or somehow, another position has to take the hit.
Well, what would you say is going to take the hit, D-Gun? Because
I would say running back.
Yeah.
You're
going to have a lot of wideouts and a lot of linebackers.
Yeah, and a lot of linemen.
Because let's face it, Sean Bradley may never see the field as a linebacker, but he's going to be probably the special teams captain.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Then you have to keep Davion Teller because he's having a great
There you go.
Right
yeah, and something's got to give. Something's got to give somewhere.
Kazir White, you've got
there you go.
Got guys like
Kyron
Johnson. Yep.
Yeah.
You got Kyron Johnson. You got Patrick Johnson. You've got
Johnson and Johnson.
A lot of Johnsons.
Yeah. I mean, you got Tyron Jackson also. Then you have Milton Williams.
Yeah.
It's when do you
the 53 is going to be really tough.
Yeah. Where do you cut?
I hate to be Howie right now because there's so many good players on this roster right now. Like a guy we're not even talking about, but watch when you see him. When on Friday, Matt Leo, number 66. Watch you see this kid is big, strong, quick, sets the edge. He's a defensive end. Wait till you see him. Another guy that's big, strong, and plays the nose very, very well that nobody's really talking about is Marvin Wilson, number 73. He is a dump truck in there. He is the man, bro. I'm telling you.
But I don't see them keeping 5 D tackles though.
You can't because you got the guys on the edges, and when I say the guys on the edges, you got the guys on the edges are guys like Kyron Johnson.
Yeah.
Patrick Johnson, Hassan Reddick, and with them comes Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett, Tyron Jackson, Brandon Graham. That's a lot of guys you got to keep, man.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go from there?
So that's it. What takes the hit?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, obviously, right? You'd rather have this than, my God, can we really have this guy on a roster? You know, you'd rather it be that way, for sure. But
look at this, though. You know, a guy that they may cut, they might have to cut, that Kayvon Wallace. Kayvon Wallace is
really
he's not having a great camp. He's having an okay camp. He's not doing enough right now to garner him being on the team, especially when you have all these linebackers. So at this point, I see them keeping three or four safeties. And he may not be that guy, man.
It's a pretty high pick who's going to be gone, you know, in pretty relative, you know, short order here.
They like Andre Chachere. They like him.
How many corners are you going to keep?
Oh, exactly. I mean, you know they're going to keep Zach McPherson because he's had a great camp.
Yeah,
great camp. They're going to keep man after that, you know, because they like Matt McCain.
And the offensive line's not going to be easy either,
bro.
That's what I said. They're going to keep nine. They're going to keep 9 or 10 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Usually they keep 9.
Yes.
But I don't know if you can keep 9. I mean, they might have to keep.
They will keep 9, dude, because of the injuries to offensive linemen nowadays. How many can you bury on a practice squad?
And even think about like the last couple of years, the amount of offensive linemen, like you know, they've been able to overcome it and do a nice job. But they've lost guys the last few.
I mean, last year you lost Brandon Brooks and Sayamalo, and that offensive line kept going because of the depth.
For his own purposes, wasn't around early in the year too. So you need depth there too.
But who do you keep then? I mean, all right, you got the 5 starters. Okay, after that, you know you're going to keep Andre Dillard. You know you're going to keep Jack Driscoll. Then after that, you got Cam Jurgens. He probably started if Kelsey didn't come back enough time. They love Sewell Payton. He's going to be here. Sewell Payton will be here.
There you go.
Then after that, you know, that's, I mean, Coyote Awusika. Do you keep after that Brett Toth,
LaRaven Clark?
I mean, they love LaRaven Clark.
See, to me, those are practice squad players. But this team likes to keep a minimum of 9, and I could possibly see 10. You know, because offensive linemen are falling like crazy the last few years.
Well, look at what's going on. I mean, it was great that you said that yesterday, Rob. But the situation with the Jets,
with
you've got with them losing their starting tackle, Mekhi Becton. You have to go out there and entertain, you know, Andre Dillard, wave him in front of him.
Yeah, I can't imagine there hasn't been a conversation had. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you tell me Howie and Douglas haven't at least discussed it. I guarantee you they have. Yeah. And look, you know, I don't want, like I said, I don't want to get rid of them, but the Jets are very vulnerable right now, which means you could maybe really fleece them in this situation. So keep your eye on that one. And it may not happen this week or next week, but you know, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, if it's going to happen, I think they would want him to get at least a week under his belt, you know, with the Jets system. So, you know, relatively short order, you know, I would think.
He can go as a starter. He can go in as a starter.
Yeah, 100% he can. Yeah, I believe it. And look, if you're the Jets, first of all, you lose. I don't care what team you are, but the last thing you want is Wilson running for his life, having happy feet, getting his rear end handed to him. I mean, they need to protect that guy to find out exactly what they had. It was not a real smooth year last year for him. And I'm not killing the guy. He was a rookie and he was with a bad team, but you know, it's time to see what that guy's got going on and how real he is. And that's where I think they're vulnerable. Look, I think, and Howie, as time goes on, just starts jacking that price up, or he went real high and all right, get back to me. And then they see in these preseason games how whoever the backup is, I couldn't even tell you who's on the depth on the Jets offensive line, but whoever the guy that's stepping in there. Like, I'll give you another one. The Tampa Bay Bucks today, their backup center left on a cart, and it was like Panic City.
Yes.
Turns out he had cramps. Thankfully, that he had leg cramps. That's all it was.
You said crabs.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, cramps, not crabs. But no, it turned out to be nothing. Thank God. But for them, they went down to the third string center with a 45-year-old quarterback, even though he's the GOAT. So you know this stuff is sketchy, man. That's for sure.
Rob, if that would have happened, he'd have retired right then and there.
Yeah, he would have been somehow he would have been with Miami if that was the case with all the tampering. All right, so let's step aside. We come back. Adam Kaplan's going to join us. Adam has been on his tour, his usual preseason tour of a bunch of different teams. We'll talk to him about that. We'll talk about the Eagles, the NFC East, you name it. We'll hit all of it. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis with you on this Wednesday. Let's talk a little Razor technology because IT infrastructure environments are more complex and heterogeneous than ever before. Consequently, teams struggle to respond to pressing issues with the speed necessary to promote positive business results, and the data that powers predictive monitoring and automation is left unexploited. Razor Technology addresses this challenge with a holistic approach that connects every part of an organization's technology assets, enabling proactive and secure IT operations without sacrificing the agility that drives innovation. Razor Technology automates monitoring and management to bolster IT teams that are feeling stretched thin. And it improves auditing and reporting procedures so that actionable insights find their way to the leaders that need them most. Save time and money on your IT and cloud services and secure your organization with leading end-to-end infrastructure solutions by calling Razor Technology today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit. The glass is for cocktails, right?
It's for this, and that.
Is the length of the glass equal to your...
You betcha.
But is it made out of...
Glass?
Yeah, okay, but is the rip...
Smooth?
Will you stop doing...
That?
I'm the professional here.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. All from the company that's highly awarded. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and deliciously tasting vodka. So good, it just disappears.
right, welcome back in, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Thanks for hanging with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Great content, by the way, JAKIBsports.com. Of course, you can catch all of our interviews there and JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, excited to be talking to our next guest. You can follow him on Twitter at
there he is.
NFL. Yes.
Hollywood.
Yes, look at him. Look at Adam, man. He's got the shades on.
It's sunny here, guys.
He's gone big time on us. He is the one of the hosts of Inside the Birds, along with our friend Jeff Mosher. He does a phenomenal job. What's going on, Adam? How we doing, man?
I'm good, guys. I'm out about a half a mile from the Bucks training camp here in Tampa with the Dolphins here. I'm about at the midway point of my 4-week tour, so you guys caught me at a good time. I practiced was down about half an hour ago.
Dude, when I talked to you last week, you were in San Francisco one day and then Florida the next day. How many camps do you cover in a 4-week period?
Well, see, what I do, Degon, is it's more about teams and camps because I see a lot of joint practices. So today, the Dolphins are in. They're also in tomorrow. It saves me time and everything else. So I'll probably see about half the league by the time I'm done. In fact, my tour will end, guys, in Miami in 2 weeks.
Wow.
With the Dolphins at the Dolphins' new training complex in Miami Gardens, Florida, which they just moved into last summer.
Wow. Nice. Adam, what's from what your jaunts, where you've been so far, your journey thus far, has anything really stood out? Has one team really caught your eye? Has anything player-wise, a rookie, a vet, a guy in a new place, has anything really stood out to you from your other camps?
Rob, let me start with this. So the camps, when I first started coming to the league, D-Gun could back this up because he's been covering the league longer than I have. First of all, the practices were 3.5 hours when I first started covering the league in 2000.
Yes.
Now we have the infamous 57-minute Eagle practice. You know, Barrett, I'm guessing 3.5 hours for you when you first started playing?
3 hours in the morning, 2.5 at night.
Now, wait a minute. The 2.5 at night, wait a minute. You did, but were you in pads both practices?
Yes.
In
Westchester, my first year. Yes, in Westchester.
Oh, man, okay. Well, so Rob, to answer your question, every practice is crisp. There's no standing around anymore. Now, here's a little nugget which surprised me. You know, everyone talks about Ted Rath, who came over from the Rams, who's his strength and conditioning coach for the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, they brought him in because the Rams have historically had at least the last 3 years, the best injury problems, you know, in terms of low numbers. So they bring him in, right? Well, the Rams had a 2.5 hour practice last week. I was like, what is this about? An hour and a half. I couldn't and unfortunately, that's when Stafford had a setback with his right elbow. Right. So they pulled him out after 10 minutes. But yeah, the practices, Rob, my first thought would be on your question. They are so crisp, so tight. I mean, and even in a joint practice, though there was about a 30-second skirmish where players were pushing each other, they're like on to the next drill, They don't waste any time.
That seems to be the new thing these days, you know, maximizing efficiency with practices.
Yeah, but Adam, would you agree with the fact that, okay, and Barrett has talked about this extensively. Teams are condensing practices. We constantly use the word now maximizing the time that they have allotted, but yet when the regular season starts, we see every year for the last 5-6 years an increase in the injuries, especially the soft tissue type injuries. So is it beneficial to these players to go this route? I mean, I know that's what they wanted in a new collective bargaining agreement, but to me, it doesn't seem like it's getting the bodies and the mind ready for the rigors that lie ahead.
You're talking to the league about this. They have what's called the ramp-up period, you know, the first 5 days. They wanted it expanded or extended because they found that a lot of soft tissue injuries happen within the first week of camp.
Okay.
And that's why they do it. Now that what I worry about the first 4 or 5 weeks is because they don't tackle. Typically, the first month of the season, defenses are ahead of the offenses, and it's more sloppy than good football.
Yeah.
Then once it balances out, then the offenses take over. And look at training camp. You guys have been there. The defenses, second week they get better, but the first few days it's ridiculous. The defenses are dominating the offenses.
Yeah.
I look at Eagles practice today. They were out there 50 minutes. They did maximize it, but they still got guys out with concussions. Guys, you know, like both running backs. You know, both the second and third team running backs are out like that. So there's always going to be injuries. I understand maximizing your potential while you're out there, man. But I mean, are we doing it to the detriment of the game? I mean, for the first, the team doesn't get their identity until after the 4th game. It took the Eagles until the 8th game to get theirs. I mean, is it really helping them out doing this?
They do studies and the less, but as long as you get in everything you need to get in, historically you're gonna be healthier. That's what they think. The shorter practices are better, but it's the sloppy tackling I always have a problem with early in the season because you're not tackling. I get it. The Eagles have been on this with sports science. Recovery, I get about as a football player, recovery is very big. If you could recover and not have a heavy practice. Now today, remember, is going to be light anyway because it's like a Friday practice in an NFL season, which is just over an hour, because they have a game on Friday. This would be like a Friday practice for Sunday, so I get that. Yep. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be the thing that surprised heard with Sirianni today. He said that the starters will play a series or two. Historically, when we had 4 games in the preseason, the starters wouldn't play in the first game, but we've got one less.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, Adam. It would seem like if you're erring on the side of caution, it would be, I don't know, an unnecessary risk to put some of the starters in there, even though it would be a short amount of time. But I'm in favor of getting them a little bit of work and getting them out of there. It could be as much as a good drive and they're gone, right? Is this just we have too many new faces here? We got to get these guys acclimated a little bit more with the game speed. I know how much they value those joint practices, and of course you're going to be at one of them. But you think that's what it is more than anything else?
I would say seeing the younger players, but it's interesting you bring that to joint practices. So I was talking to Jason Light, the Bucs GM, yesterday, and he said, "Look, these joint practices will more or less, in their eyes, replace preseason games. I mean, maybe they'll play a couple of veterans, but he felt like the veterans, if you're going to go at it in this heat, which they're going to, because they're going to host." They're hosting today Miami, and then I think they're going to go against the Titans, which wherever it is, it's hot, whether it's Nashville and Tampa, and that's a lot of work. In fact, they'll call you. They call the joint practices mini games because you have your work against the other team, and you practice alone. So that's a lot of work. So to answer your question, to finish this off, there's no doubt that practicing less, there's certain things you give up. Being crisp early in the season, that's not going to change.
Adam, let me ask you, we were talking about this and whether you believe that this may be a fit or not. That's good to see you. There you go. We had your ear for a minute there. We need full Adam Kaplan face. There it is.
I got a fat head, so.
No, I'm kidding. With the Jets losing Becton, and I know he's playing on the right side for them right now. And that had been an issue with Dillard, but it's not as much now from what we're hearing. Do you think there's a possible partnership there with the Eagles and the Jets, with the Douglas Howie connection? Maybe Dillard going there at all?
Well, I know this George Fant could start at right tackle or left tackle as he did last year. He filled up for Beckley. He did a great job. He was a surprise for them. But when you look at this situation, here's the problem, Rob, with trading Andre Dillard. Unless someone blows the Eagles away, because I know we had reported on Inside the Birds that a bunch of teams called the trade deadline last year. Carolina was definitely one of them, but Eagles were not really listening. And that's smart because unless someone says, hey, listen, what's it going to take? We want the player. Why would you do it and go to LaRaven Clark? Let's move this along here. So LaRaven Clark would be the answer. LaRaven Clark could get you out of a tough spot for 3 or 4 games. If your left tackle, Mailata, is out for 10 to 12, it's going to be a problem. This is the right-handed quarterback. This is the blind side. I would not – my left tackle has got to be – we got to have someone now, the other thing is you could let Dillard walk, obviously. If Dillard had to play 2 or 3 games and the tape is really good, Rob, he's going to get paid for agency. Then you get a decent compensatory pick. So
good point.
I would be against it. I'd be against it. I know the Eagles, if someone bowls them over, they'll definitely listen. It would surprise me if they'd move Dillard. It would.
Hey, Adam, in all your travels around the various training camps, which training camp facility, coaching staff do you enjoy the most visiting?
Well, the facility I like the best is no longer being used. It's Napa for the Raiders.
Okay.
By far the best. And so much has happened when I was there. The Al Davis stories, the Pope Mobile. I could go through like unbelievable stories, Derek. I know you have yours and you have travels and all the camps you've been to. I do miss Lehigh a little bit. I had fun there, but I'd have to say by far nothing will replace the Raiders in Napa. 05 was my first one. I want to give you a 30-second story. This is typical Raiders. They give you no information. I didn't know where to go, so I go to the Napa Marriott. So I'm walking around, and I see nothing. They don't tell you anything. So I'm walking in the back, and I see a tennis court. I'm like, well, this can't be it. So I asked the security guard, hey, can you tell me where the fields are? He goes, you're looking at. I'm like, what? This is a tennis court. He goes, no, look inside. So I look in, I peek in. I'm like, oh my God, there are 2 fields here, and back in the parking lot. So they ripped up the parking lot and they put 2 fields in there. And folks, this is no lie. See, 05 through 19 was the last year they were there, and I was there for the last one. It never rained in 15 years. Not one day.
Wow.
And get this, D-Gun. In the morning, it's high 50s, low 60s. In the afternoon, it's high 70s, low 80s. No humidity, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Little different
life,
than
bro.
Philadelphia right now.
Yeah,
Adam.
that's a good life.
Yeah, it's funny. Ironically, out here, I was with Jackson, the Jaguars yesterday. No humidity. Today, it's hot as hell, but there's no humidity.
Oh my God.
Well, let me ask you this: you had an opportunity to watch Hurts, because I sat there and watched Hurts with you one day of practice. But you saw Tua also. I'm not going to say that, So how do you rate those two together?
I would say Hurts is the better athlete. He also has a stronger arm. Barrett, I watched Tua today, and there was a sideline throw. He threw it on time, but because he has no juice in his arm, it got deflected. He just now the thing is, with this offense he's going to run, Mike McDaniel, the head coach, will call the plays. He's running Kyle Shanahan's offense. Mm-hmm. That creates a lot of space to throw. Jimmy Garoppolo did great in it.
Yep.
So you're not going to have to throw the ball deep a lot. It's going to be more run after the catch. The so-called air yards for those analytics people won't be very good, but the yak yards will be great. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have a great arm, and he's done very well in it. And we'll see. I'll say this: the Dolphins are unbelievably loaded. And watching Tyreek Hill practice, and Carlton Davis is a really good corner for the Bucs. He's also tall. Tyreek Hill ran him inside out. It was pretty amazing to watch this guy practice up close.
Hey, Adam, I've said this on a number of occasions. I want to see if you agree or disagree with me. When it comes to the Miami Dolphins, I said this team would be a much more dangerous team with Teddy Bridgewater under center more so than Tua.
He's more of a check down quarterback. He's not going to drive it. Now, he's a smart quarterback. He won't turn it over. But the reason why he keeps moving is he's just not going to challenge. He won't turn it over. He's a great leader, but he's a shell of the player, I think, when he was drafted that the Vikings were thinking he was getting. He's a good backup. But honestly, though, if you watch Tua throw and Bridgewater throw, it's funny you mentioned that. Bridgewater threw the ball better, a little bit better today. It's funny you mentioned that. I did see that.
Let me ask you, speaking of Tyreek Hill tearing it up, A.J. Brown is on like a TO mission here early on, Adam, in practices. I mean, and I know it's practice, but he seems to be just absolutely in his zone, and they have a pretty good chemistry here. Do you think we're looking at monster production out of him and numbers from him this season?
Yes, Rob. In fact, I know the Titans very well, and I know how tough of a trade that was for them, and every practice is like his last. You've heard Allen Iverson say that. Mm-hmm. He just physically dominates. He doesn't take plays off. He's just, other than T.O., we've never seen anyone on the outside like this. I saw one of his first practices in 2019 at the Titans complex in Nashville. I was pretty impressed then, and seeing him as I was able to last week and the week before that, he's everything I thought and more. I don't know him personally, but he seems like he's attacking the practice like a chip on his shoulder because he was traded. You saw his quotes recently. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was happy about it, the way that went down. I know he got paid very well. Titans gave him a really low offer. I think they were concerned about the knee. One of the knees, he's had both fixed. Mm-hmm. But he looks great, and this guy's unbelievable. And, yeah, he and Hurts, Rob, have great chemistry. And you just see he's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, which is what we all love in Philly. And the fans are going to love him. They're going to fall in love with this guy. He's a pretty special football player.
Okay. Adam, let me ask you this, because this is a topic we just debated a couple of times earlier in this show. When it comes to having faith, who do you have more faith in, Sirianni, Steichen, or Gannon?
I would say Sirianni for sure, because I was so blown away. By middle of last season, he hands over the plays. Joe Banner told me Andy did that a lot. The media didn't know about it, but he was also a veteran coach.
Yeah.
This guy's a first-time head coach who, by the way, when he was with the Colts, he didn't call the plays there. Mm-hmm. He came in as a rookie play caller, rookie head coach. And to give it the play calling around mid-season, it takes a lot. Look, what were they, 2-5, something like that?
Yep. Yeah, they were 2-5, yeah.
So, Rob, to do that, mm-hmm. I mean, that blew me away. I respect the heck out of it. Most coaches would not do that. They're so hell-bent on calling the plays the first year. then they might hand it off. So now I like what Hassan Reddick said about Gannon this week. He pretty much indicated he's going to be used the right way, which is to rush.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of us who are at practice were like, why is he dropping? Well, you can't rush every play.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
But if they use him the right way, if Gannon uses the players the right way, this will be a defense you won't even recognize compared to last year.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Also, and I'm looking at Nick Sirianni as he is approaching this year, and the maturation he has with understanding what his guys do best, and then articulating to his coaches, and it goes downhill. I still haven't seen enough from Clay, Michael Clay. I mean, we have heard nothing from him. I mean, not a peep out of him on special teams or anything else. Have you heard anything? How that's going? Because there used to be a strong set, for the Eagles to have the great special teams, which kept them in a lot of games also, but I haven't heard anything about him. I heard about, the other two coordinators, but nothing about Michael Clay.
Yes, so they fixed the issue with Aaron Sipos. That's how you say it. I was told 20 times to say it correctly. Sipos, I don't know what the hell it is, but I've been told repeatedly it's Sipos. So anyway, apparently they got his steps right, I was told. So they fixed that. You saw they fixed Jake Elliott last year. My goodness gracious. What a bounce back year.
Unbelievable.
Great year.
Now, the problem is the return game. Now, Britton Covey, we said this on our show in May. I still feel this to be the case most likely. Covey will make the team as the punt returner. I believe that. And I also think he'll be a backup slot. He'll play some slot. He's got outstanding short area quickness. Super. If you watch practice, this kid
changed my mind.
What's that?
He changed my mind.
How so?
In the aspect, I think he had a small chance of making the squad at the beginning of the year because they don't have those spots for him. They got talent from him at the wide receiver position, which will keep him off special teams. But he has done enough to change my mind about his opportunities, taking his opportunities and running with them, because I see him running with the ones on offense, but also, taking a lot of reps as punt team and showing that he can return. So he's changing my mind. I'm starting to think like I may have put my foot in my mouth, and I might have to apologize to the stream because of it.
but my issue though is the kickoff returns. It's probably going to be the kid, the track star. I don't think that's going to work. Alan, he's
no.
He's the shock season. Shrub-handed. He'll get you 8, which you're absolutely looking for. So they're going to answer your question. They're going to be better, but it'd be nice for an explosive play. And Jalen Reagor, if he's on, I don't know what he'll be doing.
Is it just a matter of dead cap money and pride with where he was drafted at him that he's still going to be here? I mean, is that what it comes down to?
We put this out, Rob, in May. They're not going to cut him. The cap is not the issue. It's you're not going to give him away. This guy was a first-round pick. I know he certainly hasn't played like it, but he also hasn't got much of a chance. And the Eagles have kind of replaced him with A.J. Brown and Quez Watkins, who's been a nice story, and obviously Devontae Smith. And Zach Passel's going to play because he knows the offense and he's close to Sirianni. There's really not a role for him here. But he's under contract. They're not going to cut him. The salary is very little. It's just less than $2 million. But how do you justify, Rob, paying a guy $2 million? That's the point.
That's a good point. Very valid point.
Yeah, Adam, I don't know. I mean, it feels like he's going to be here, and it feels like he shouldn't. And especially, as you mentioned, with Covey making it, they got some real tough roster questions. We were going over this earlier. I mean, they're deep. It's a good problem, but they're deep in a lot of spots here, Adam. There's going to be some quality guys that they're just going to have to let go.
It's funny you say that because I was talking to someone at practice the other day. I said, man, you guys, they're like 60 players you guys should keep, and it's completely different from previous years. I know the Seahawks would always tell me about that. God, we're gonna have tough cuts, man. We don't want guys. We don't want to trade them. Well, there are gonna be some players, the back end players that they probably like, that are maybe the 10th lineman or 11th lineman. They don't want to cut. You're right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. This is going to be interesting for you out there watching the show. Love to do their own 53. You're probably time this you're getting it right because the last 3 to 4 spots are going to be cannot keep everybody.
Amazing. Adam, listen, man, keep up the good work. When are you done? When's the tour done? When are we coming back?
Oh, yeah, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be home. My last stop is with the Eagles and Dolphins on the 24th and 25th of this month. I will probably visit the Eagles one more time at Noverkid. But I I've got to get as many teams in as possible, and I look for Browns the next week in Berea, Ohio, which is always a fun drive on the PH.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Was that Interstate 80?
It's 80 and 76. Yeah.
Yep. I've driven that many times, brother. Whew.
Adam, all right, be safe, man. Thanks for hopping on.
Thank you, Adam.
It's always fun.
Appreciate it, bro.
Later.
All right, take care, Adam Cap. We wrapped a little bit early. You had some technical stuff there. You guys are picking up that echo too, so just I know that was a little bit difficult. I do love that he does that, man. He basically goes to almost. We say half the teams in the NFL. He'll hit their camps. Smart too. It's very strategic.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, but now that he's hitting the joint practices, he gets to kind of get the best of both worlds there with two of those teams. And maybe we'll check in with Adam when the Eagles are out there with Miami, or Cleveland too, right? He said Miami.
Yeah,
Miami.
Cleveland. The last is with Miami going down there and practice against them.
Yeah,
Cleveland. I think it's going to be a lot harder for this team to go in there and kind of push around, because that's a physical team.
Yeah,
they got a lot of stuff going on, But I mean, I think that they'll put a good licking on Miami, man. I really think that.
Does Cleveland not feel like that jinxed team this year? I mean, with Deshaun Watson, with Kareem Hunt want to be traded, and they lose Grant for the year now.
He was a Pro Bowl returner. They've lost him for the year as well.
They just feel like that team.
Can it get any worse for that team right now? This was a team that had so much promise. But like we were talking about earlier, Rob, when Roger Goodell came out and said yesterday, we think the suspension should be longer, that was a green flag right there. That means the NFL is going to do everything possible to make sure they make an example of him. And as I said a few weeks ago on this very show, I didn't think that 6-game suspension was going to stand, because I believe there's a certain contingent of owners who got in Roger Goodell's ears that, hey, you and your office better do something about this. A 6-game suspension is nothing more than a slap on the wrist for a situation like this. This is our integrity we're talking about. We've made examples of other players. We can't just let this one fall by the wayside.
Yeah, no, Gunner, I think you're right. Goodell didn't even hide it yesterday.
No,
that was pretty obvious, pretty blatant. And the guy who they have, who's in charge of this thing now, has a history of dealing with domestic issues, domestic violence, sexual assault, etc. So I'd be really surprised if he plays it down. I would be really surprised.
I agree 100% with you, which means that hit Cleveland where it hurts, because now they go from being a team that can compete to an average to less than average team now in a lot of ways. Bear's right. They're a physical team on both sides of the football. The last 3 or 4 years, that team has been built for physicality.
Yep.
But it's predicated by a guy being able to lead that team. I'm not putting my money into Jacoby Brissett or anybody else quarterback in that team right now to get it done. They'll be in games, they'll be competitive, but I can see them falling short in way too many games because of a deficiency at their quarterback position.
And then I guess the question then is, can Stefanski be on a hot seat after all of this? Can you blame the coach after all of this?
No. Yeah, you can't blame the coach for this one.
No, not at all.
This is on the player.
Yeah, I agree.
This is on a proven professional player who has stepped outside of the lines of ethics, not once, not twice, but 30 times, 40 times too many. And the Browns spun that roulette wheel, took a chance that he would get a slap on the wrist. Initially he did, but the Browns should have also figured out somehow, some way the league was going to step into this picture and not be okay with what he was given. And sure enough, the league filed their appeal. The commissioner has said, we're going to look at this a little bit more seriously than what the initial ruling was.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think they're just saving face. I know it's just the league trying to save face. And when we say the league, when you say the league, it's funny to me. We say the league, but it's actually the owners.
Absolutely.
And I think two owners specifically, with Cleveland and Houston, are just trying to, say, hey, let's just keep this going. I wonder what other teams are looking at this and saying, oh no, we want to get this. When we get this finalized and everything, because at this point, with Goodell just basically just being a yes man for the owners, why are they still going through with this?
Yeah.
Y'all would have thought they tried to sweep under the rug.
But you wonder too, if he misses this year, I know how good he is, and I know he's not 35; he's still young. But 2 straight years of being out of the NFL. It's not an easy thing to pick. I know Michael Vick did it, but we haven't seen a lot of guys be able to just pick right back up after missing that kind of, and still have your timing and your edge.
Rob, you're right. You're right. And it's not going to be that way either. He's not going to be able to go in and step right in. Even after the 6 games, we're talking about a year and a half that he hasn't played in a game. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he can play in the preseason, though.
I believe he can. He's definitely practicing. 100% he's practicing. So I would assume, that's not the regular season.
Right. It's not the regular season. So,
and if you're them, I mean, you really have to approach this differently, man. Like, you know how it is, Barrett, at practice, and Derek, the 2s and the 3s get hardly any reps.
Right.
Yep.
Brissett's got to be getting touches, man. He has to.
I don't know, man, because Brissett, that's why they brought him in, because he's a veteran guy. He doesn't need much. He's always been in a position where he's backed up and came in and saved the day. To me, it's just looking like it's not going to change. But I think that they're not going to go for a full season. I really think it's still going to stay around 6 to 8 games.
Really? Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I really think about 6 to 8 games. And I mean, it has nothing to do with my feelings for what corresponded with that, because I hate that we're even going through this, talking about taking advantage because of who you are,
right?
Women in the whole situation. That's definitely not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, I'm surprised that the league, especially since the players organization said, all right, we're just going to go forward and we'll leave it alone, that the league isn't leaving it alone. I mean, that's surprising to me, actually. It's really surprising to me.
Well, yeah, we're going to see, man, because something's got to be coming down soon. We're not that far away from this thing getting real. All right, we'll continue with the NFL talk. We'll do a little bit more stuff NFL wise. We're going to look at Week 4, Barrett. Some of the big time contests that are coming up, and yet another killer week. Some extensions. We're going to get a review from Gunner. He's going to put his Siskel and Ebert hat on for you about Hard Knocks. We'll talk to him about that. Coach is on the hot seat is one of the things that we'll dive into as well. We will mix some Phillies in there too before we get out of here as they continue to win as well. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk about Flynn Tree Services, because Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So, do you have any type of tree issues in your yard or your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees, all right? They serve the southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, northern Delaware, and Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, and tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, we're getting very close to storm and hurricane season. We got some bad rains in this area last night. Now's the time to have your trees evaluated. You got some dead trees, some older trees that are just taking up a lot of space that could be dangerous for your house or anybody else walking past. Give them a call right now. You go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. But give Flynn Tree Services, that's Flynn Tree Services, a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit. Glass is for cocktails, right?
It's for this, 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 and that.
Is the length of the glass equal to your...
You betcha.
But is it made out of...
Glass?
Yeah, okay, but is the rim...
Smooth?
Will you stop doing...
That?
I'm the professional here.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of stateside vodka. All from the company that's highly awarded. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and deliciously tasting vodka. So good, it just disappears.
What's up? What's up? How we doing? Hour number 3, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, and Rob. What's up, D-Gun?
Hey, before we move into our next topic of discussion, Kyle Rogers has a question I've been asking for the last couple of days, and I need an answer from Mr. Brooks.
What?
There it is right there. You see it. You see what he says.
Hold on, let me look. I got to move my because I'm on a laptop, so I got to.
What happened to getting Barrett's brother on? I want to know what he thinks about the Watson story.
That's right. I've been asking for a few days, Kyle. Where's Philip?
Okay. Well, I will have him on tomorrow. So, you know, the stream acts, it will be done. So Philip will be on tomorrow. All right, I'll get him on tomorrow. What time you guys want him on?
I don't know. The question is, will you be on tomorrow? We don't know day to day. Will you be on tomorrow?
Man.
There's no practice tomorrow. Right, shot. He know exactly what I was doing. You know I had a meeting. You know I had to go. You had to go to practice. Come on, Gun.
How about I would say Barrett maybe see if he can jump on for 12:20, 12:20, something like that.
Okay, 12:20. Yeah, we'll just have him on for about 5 minutes.
No. Oh no.
That may not be a bad idea. He's a bit of a loose cannon.
Right.
No.
There might be kids.
You had a full 30 minutes to interrogate my brother and to get him to say stuff about me that I told him if he ever said I would fly to Arizona and choke him. So therefore, we need at least 20 minutes with your brother.
Well, your brother doesn't carry shotguns and guns.
That makes a difference. That makes the story even more interesting. If he comes on there and he's got a 12 gauge on his shoulder, I want to know that before I know anything else. Why is he carrying a 12 gauge?
He doesn't carry a 12 gauge. He does have a AR-15. So he does have that. He doesn't play, bro. Yeah, he has it, and that's like most kids. Most guys go out. They want to go buy a fishing rod. He loves fishing. He fishes every day.
Right.
So he fishes all the time. He fishes in the Mississippi, the Missouri. He's always fishing, but he carries a gun every time he goes fishing.
That's how he gets the fish.
Well, I don't blame him. You don't know what you're gonna meet out there in the wilderness. I don't blame him for that. But
it could be a city park. He doesn't care. He will carry a gun wherever he goes.
Okay. All right, this is going to be interesting. All right, this one's going to be interesting. All right, so Philip may be making an appearance tomorrow. We'll see how it goes.
Yes.
Barrett's working. He's efforting as we speak.
I'm going to be early for that show. I'm not missing that show.
I'm glad it's virtual. Philip would scare me. That's for sure.
Philip scares me.
Yeah, my questions be very respectful. Hello, Mr. Brooks.
Man.
Yeah.
No,
it's about to get real tomorrow.
I guess so.
Well, we really got to ask him what is up with this, because he's never told me why he's a Cleveland Browns fan.
Yeah, we need to get to the bottom of that. I don't get that. You guys grew up in St. Louis. You never played for the Browns, and he roots for the Browns. I don't
never wanted to play for the Browns, and I just don't understand how he became a Browns fan. I mean,
bizarre,
very bizarre. I don't understand it, bro.
And by the way, if there's if there's any stiff team you're going to back, it's that team that's never won anything.
Right.
I don't know.
There's nothing in Cleveland.
Yeah.
How do you go to Cleveland?
Except the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's it.
Right.
That's
well, yeah. The Hall of Fame period, right?
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, Canton. All right, Derek, give us your review. Hard Knocks is the Detroit Lions this year. And we know they have the colorful head coach. Dan Campbell's a colorful guy. We know Deuce is there. There's always a great quote or two coming out of there with them. So what was your review? And now we're only one in so far of Hard Knocks?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. This first episode of Hard Knocks, just the animation with the coaches and a few of the players was phenomenal. I think overall Hard Knocks has lost some of its luster through the years. But this first show at Hard Knocks was, first of all, what caught my eye was the wealth of coaching talent this team has. I mean, you have Deuce Staley as your assistant head coach and running backs coach. You have Aaron Glenn as your defensive coordinator. You have Dave Phipp.
Yep.
Yeah, you have Dave Phipp, who had an outstanding career here in Philadelphia for the special teams. He's the special teams coordinator. Mark Brunell is the quarterback's coach. Hank Fraley. Remember Hank Fraley? Honey Buns. Played for the Eagles for a while. He was a coach. He was a coach in Minnesota as well. And you got one of Barrett's boys, Antoine Randall L. is a wide receiver coach there.
You got some Steeler connections there, Deuce and Antoine Randall L. Okay.
Yep.
Now, in listening to Dan Campbell said when he assembled a coaching staff, he wanted guys who had been there and done it as players, not just guys who had coached it, but who had been there and gone through the rigors of making a name for themselves in the NFL and understanding what it takes to get that extra something out of you in the NFL. And there was a scene in there. There was a section in there. Aaron Glenn and Deuce Staley are such close friends. And Barrett, I've never seen this before. So you got to watch this first episode. When it was offense against defense, you should see Aaron Glenn and Deuce Staley going at it in each other's faces every play. And I mean going at it. And you think they're going to start swinging, but they're so close, and they sat and talked about it. That's the kind of love they have for each other. They're the best of friends, but they're jaw-jacking more than any player I've seen in a training camp.
You know what? That's Deuce. Just to give you an insight on what I know about Deuce. I with playing with Deuce, it was actually a point when we were with the Steelers, and Deuce was just backing up because he had fast Willie Parker and Jerome Bettis.
He was getting older at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
That it was kind of the same way. We'd be in practice.
Yep.
And he's jabberjawing and talking, cash trash to the head coach. Him and Cowher are going back and forth. I'm like, did you forget that you're a player? It's to the point where we kicked y'all ass. We whooping y'all ass, coach.
That's what he was saying in practice. That's what he was saying.
He was saying to Bill Cowher. Oh man, y'all saw. Peasy, you saw. My boy shutting you down, Peasy. You saw. Talking about Joey Porter. It's this that point. See, hey, coach. You see, y'all can't mess with it. They going back and forth like they're in a bar or something, And this is the head coach, and so I can see how Staley is doing that with with Aaron Glenn. I can see that because Aaron Glenn talked a lot during games.
Oh yeah, and I tell you what, as coaches now, there's no player on the field that can out-talk Deuce Staley and Aaron Glenn. I'm telling you right now. And my second most favorite moment was when Dan Campbell asked running back Jamal Williams to break him down after practice was over. And the emotions he exhibited. He talked about how that 3-13-1 record, that ain't us. He said, every time I think about that, I get ticked off. Every time I come out to practice, I'm working that much harder. That ain't us. Don't come out here and give a half effort. We've got something to prove. And you can see tears welling up in his eyes. He's starting to cry, he goes, that ain't us. He said, we got to change, we got to change this around here. We got too much talent in this. And when I said that, I'm getting chills just listening to Jamal Williams talk. And I'm thinking the more he talked, the more I'm realizing, number one, if I was a betting man, if I had Monopoly money to play with, I'd bet everything I'd own that the Eagles win their first game in Detroit. But this Detroit team scares me, number one, because they were that bad last year, but they hung around and could have won so many games, but couldn't hold off the opposition at the end. And number two, you look at some of the collection of talent they have just on the offensive side of the ball, TJ Hawkinson, DJ Chark. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, Penei Sewell playing right tackle for him. Big V is the right guard. Hutchinson.
Yeah,
Big V is the right guard. Yeah. Michael Brockers is the right defensive tackle. Hutchinson is the right defensive end. Jeff Okudah is the first-round pick playing corner for him. Yeah. This team has the talent. They just have to learn how to win.
Ohio State. Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
They just have to learn how to win. So I thought that was one of the more entertaining Hard Knocks I've seen in quite some time. And Dan Campbell, just listening to Dan Campbell talk to his players about how I know you guys think I might be overdoing it, but trust me, there's a purpose behind everything that I'm doing. You got to trust me on this. I mean, him and Aaron Glenn are out there doing up downs with the players. What have you seen a coach doing up downs?
Yeah,
I ain't seen no players doing up down. I mean,
Barry, we were talking about this earlier, man. I think week 1 is going to be a real battle.
It is
a real battle.
And I put it like this: I'm gonna tell you the truth. If I was a betting man, there's no way I'd even say they were gonna cover the spread. I think the Eagles are gonna win, but there's no way they cover that spread. No.
What is
all right? So the line's right 4. Eagles are minus
right
4. Yeah, it's 446.5. Eagles are.
Jake Elliott kicks a field goal to win this game.
I would take the 4 points.
I can see.
Look, Derek and I did our betting show last year, odds on, right? And I swear to you, out of 17 weeks, I probably took the Lions 15 of those weeks, and they were, if not the best cover team, they were in the top 2 or 3 of. Even though they lost a lot of tight ones. They were in every almost that not every game. The Eagles killed them, but a lot of games they were in. Trust me.
No question. I'm talking about like the Rams. They took the Rams to the last play of the game.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah, they did.
The last play of the game. So I mean, you can't. Whatever happened last year happened last year. That's why we need to separate what we're doing this year from last year, because number one, this team has gotten better than what they were last year. This is the second time. I mean, this is the second year under this head coach, this offense, this defense, and special team. Totally different team. It's like if we look at this team now, it's gonna be the polar opposite of what we saw last year.
Yeah.
And we gotta think like that. And to think that anybody else in the NFL is gonna be the same either, besides Dallas and besides teams like that, like Dallas definitely got worse. They definitely got worse. But you look at other teams that that you would think would be bad. Like Minnesota is not going to be bad as their record that was last year.
I hope they are.
They're not though. They're not.
I know.
The Saints are not going to be as bad as they were last. Well, not as good as they were, and not as bad as they were. I don't know what's going on with them. Because their quarterback just hurt his foot or whatever.
He's okay. It doesn't look like it's anything major.
Well, that team, I mean, he's definitely James Winston has a chip on his shoulder. He don't have Sean there anymore, but I think he's still gonna play better than what he played last year. When he was playing last year, we saw that's a drastically different team than what they saw the Eagles when they played the Eagles last year. Way different.
I'm looking at this Detroit schedule again from last year. They lost the opener to the 49ers by 8. They lost to Baltimore by 2. They lost to Minnesota by 2. They tied Pittsburgh. They lost to Cleveland by 3, Chicago by 2. They lost to Atlanta by 4. And they lost to Green Bay, or they beat Green Bay by 7. They beat Arizona 30-12. And they came back and beat Minnesota by 2 points. Those were their only 3 wins. So the only games they really got blown out was at Green Bay, at Cincinnati, the Eagles, and Denver.
So 4 games they got killed.
4 games they got killed. Yeah. And Seattle beat them 51-29. Yeah. So 5 games. But I'm telling you, man, this team is lurking in the shadows, man.
I think they're dangerous. I'm with you. I think they're dangerous. All right, a couple other odds and ends. Looks like Sean McVay and Les Snead are both going to get extended. McVay apparently has already signed it, but they don't want to go public with it till they're going to announce both at the same time, a joint thing. Les Snead, of course, being the architect of that. He's kind of flown in the face of a lot of conventional wisdom of just who cares about draft picks. We're going to go for it now. So those two getting extended, really no surprise there. We talked about it earlier, maybe before you jumped on, Barrett. Jakeem Grant, the really phenomenal return man and receiver for the Browns, out for the season. Tore his Achilles. Yeah.
All pro.
Torn Achilles. Done for the year. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Big loss.
Hey, Joey B just put up a question. When's Pete Rose coming on this show? I can answer that. Never.
He's not. No.
He ain't coming on this show.
No.
Well,
There will be no Pete Rose.
Well, Gigi Meta said right after Lenny Dykstra. I'd love to have Lenny Dykstra on there because he doesn't make no qualms about what he was. He was.
He don't make sense.
Right. But some of the stuff that he said. Remember we interviewed him, Rob.
Yes.
And he made no secrets about him being what do you call it? For older women,
an escort. He wanted to.
Oh, that's right, an escort. That's
he
what they
wanted
call it,
to.
escort.
Oh man, I'm not. I don't know. He was interested in older women.
Right. Well, they were interested in him, and he was ready to oblige them.
Yeah, he was happy to work with them on that issue. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see about either one of those two guys. That's for sure. All right, I wanted to hit you guys with this week 4. So what we're doing is just tuning in. We're saying, what are you talking about week 4 for? We're kind of going through every week leading up to when the season starts. We've done weeks 1 through 3. So I'm going to give you 4. All right. And this week is interesting because it starts the international games. We get a London game that week. So London is the early game, the 9:30 kickoff. Vikings and the Saints, 2 teams we were just talking about. It's kind of interesting, right? It's good, pretty good early game.
Yep.
It feels like it's always Jacksonville or somebody else, right? But that one is the Vikings and the Saints. Washington and Dallas, classic NFC East battle right there. That game's in Texas. And here's where it really starts to pick up. Titans and the Colts. So the really good AFC South battle right there.
Yep.
I love this one. Bills and the Ravens.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness, yes.
That is going to be fun right there. Packers and the Patriots.
Yeah, in Green Bay.
At Green Bay, man.
At Lambeau Field.
Really good. Barrett, you'll love this one. Broncos and the Raiders. Another one.
That's gonna
AFC
be really
West
good.
battle. Yeah.
Come on, man. Broncos and the Raiders going to be, a great game because, here, 2 quarterbacks going in and, who's the better of the 2, man?
Yeah.
Who's the better of the 2?
Yeah. So interesting there. And then the Sunday night and Monday night are killers. Chiefs and the Bucks Sunday night. Man. Woo. Yeah. Possible Super Bowl preview right there. But quality one there. And then Rams 49ers Monday. I mean, that's 8 games right there that are just quality
I'm telling you.
football games. And the Eagles play at 1, by the way. That's the week the Eagles play Doug P. and Jacksonville, who come here. So the Eagles have 2 straight weeks of kind of emotional games, I guess. You go.
Yep.
So out of the chute, it's Lions, Vikings, but then you're at Washington to take on Wentz, and then you get Doug coming here after that. Like I of those 2, let me ask you, which one's going to be more emotional?
Jacksonville, Philly. Oh, that's for Doug Peterson. You don't think Doug Peterson wants to come in here and win that game?
No, I do think he does. I think he does. I think the fans are more hell bent on Wentz and more pissed off at Wentz, and then Doug will get love. Whereas Carson, it might be mixed, but there's going to be some haters for sure.
Well, hell, I mean, Doug still has a statue in front of the field when he comes in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I bet you're gonna show them guys that on his way in. He's gonna show them that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, man. This is a week 4. This season is turning out to be unbelievable, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Dolphins, Bengals. Come on, man. Vikings, Saints. I mean, these are all really, really good games.
Did you mention Arizona, Carolina?
I did not. No,
that's going to be an interesting game. Arizona at Carolina.
Yeah. Yes. I'll tell you, and I'm not surprised, but we're starting to see the reports that Mayfield's starting to distance themselves.
Of course.
I mean, who didn't think that?
That's a given.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, Mayfield and Kyler Murray on the same field.
Yeah.
2 scat backs. I call them scat quarterbacks. That's gonna be a great. That's gonna be a great match.
Dudes.
Yep. I'm gonna tell you that you're right. You hit it. You hit it on the head when you said Bills Ravens though.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness!
You hit it on the head with that. Bills Ravens going to be unbelievable, and I tell you what, that Patriots Packers game is going to be okay also.
Yeah, it is. No, that one's going to be fun.
Mac Jones, Aaron Rodgers, at Lambeau. Yep. Oh my goodness!
I guess if I'm looking at the highlight game of the week, it's probably Chiefs Bucks though. I mean, Sunday night.
Oh my goodness!
In Tampa, man, Andy going down there.
You know how the networks, CBS, NBC. They fight for certain games. I like to know how the backdoor wars went on in terms of who gets what games.
Right.
You know, they'll jockey and switch as the season gets to the latter part of the season. I like to know how because they want that primetime game. You know, between CBS, Fox, and NBC. I like to know how they arrived at certain decisions on who gets what game.
It seems like didn't it seem like Sunday night took over for Monday for a while?
Yeah, in a way.
Yes.
Yeah, sure did.
Yes.
But now that they have all that money invested in Buck and Aikman, I think Monday night's going to make a comeback, would be my sense.
Oh, my goodness, yes. There's no question about it.
How weird is that going to be, guys, by the way? Buck and Aikman on ESPN on Monday night, not doing the big Fox game anymore. That's going to be strange.
It's going to change. It's going to change how you view Monday night's going to be must-watch TV now.
You know, and here's the other thing. Al Michaels doing Thursday night on Amazon Prime with Herb Street.
Yep.
Another much watch. You know what I'm saying? They invested money in it, man.
That's weird, like us three doing a show together right now.
Right. You know what? I don't know. I think I might buck you guys on the Chiefs Buccaneers game. That's being a highlighted game. I think the highlight game, man, is probably Broncos Raiders, man.
Think so? Yeah, could be.
You know, you guys don't like my love affair with Carr in the Raiders, man. But I mean, I'm telling you, man.
Well, here's what I wonder. Well, it's only week 4. It's not that far in, but we'll see at least 3 games. If Russell Wilson is dialing it up there and just lighting it up in Denver, then you know, it just makes it that much more interesting, man. I think he's going to be. It's been. You notice he's had a couple little things. I don't think it's anything major, but bumps in the road with a couple teammates
already.
Yeah, a little bit. I think he's in the mode of, look, man, I'm not getting any younger. You know, get your act together and let's go.
And you got to be that way. You know, you got a short amount of time to maximize your potential. Russell's saying, hey, man, you either get in here or get out. You know, I'm not playing with you. They brought me in for a reason. You think they're going to let me go because you? No.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's go.
See, I think the black and blue game is the Ravens against the Ravens against the Bills. I think that's the brass knuckle game of the day.
That's a killer.
That game. Right. I love you see Tavern Mike just said Rodgers uses his psychedelic powers to see the play before it happens.
That's true, man. And ayahuasca can take you a long way, man, instead of that playbook.
Man.
He's not wrong. You know what? Baltimore's going to be interesting, right? I mean, you think about it. If they're healthy, if they have the running back core, their defensive back core to go with what else they have, Lamar on if he's still not signed or extended on an insane mission, just to I don't know that Baltimore's really one of the teams to keep your eye on, in my opinion.
Right.
In that division too. I mean, you're talking about a division. Well, I guess 2 out of 4 ain't bad. Pittsburgh, I just don't think is going to be what what they have been over the years. But Cincinnati, man, Cincinnati's, and it looks like Burrow's pretty close to getting back to practicing too. After
he's too young to take off like that. I mean, I'm not to take off like that. He's too young to think he's just gonna come in and be like step one and be ready to play like that. Young guys like that need to practice. That's why they're saying. That's why I think that's the reason why Hurts will play.
Mm-hmm.
Is because of that simple reason right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also Eagles fan, Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant didn't he go to Seattle too?
Seattle in a trade.
Yeah, I thought he went to Seattle with him.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. But he said wide receivers are hurt. A lot of those guys are hurt up there also, right? Weren't you guys telling me that a lot of the Broncos receivers are hurt?
Were they banged up? I didn't see. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're banged up a lot. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, Jesse Bates is still there. Has he practiced or is he signed yet? Has he practiced?
Yeah, he hasn't signed. Yeah, he hasn't signed. Yeah.
Well, he's not getting short. He's not getting fined because he didn't sign the offer sheet. So.
Right. He hasn't signed the franchise tag yet. Yeah. I mean, he will before the season starts. Cincinnati's notoriously cheap. So
yes.
He is not. And, he's looking for do you see the money he's looking for? He wants $30 million a year as a
Exactly.
Come on, man.
That ain't happening. That's not
happening. It's not. There's no chance.
What's his name from the Steelers just signed a deal and he got 24, 22?
Minka did.
Yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
But that dude's on another planet. That's a different safety right there.
Oh, big time.
That dude deserves every dollar he can get. He can hit. He can fly. He covers a lot of ground.
Yeah.
He's one of the best at that position.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Michael Irvin, former Cowboy, Hall of Famer, will be joining Dan Cilio at 4:30. So Michael Irvin with Dan Cilio at 4:30. 2 Hurricanes right there. Did you know Dan Cilio went to Miami? Did you guys know that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what? You guys are aware of that?
Hey, Cilio knows everybody. Yesterday, he had Dabo Sweeney on.
Dabo. He had Dabo on. Yep.
Yeah, Dabo Sweeney yesterday.
Dabo. Oh, well, so, hey, Mika Fitzpatrick.
I'm going to have to start hanging out with Cilio more often.
Right. Well, Mika Fitzpatrick deal, he got 14.5 his first year, 14.45 his second year, 15.5 his third year, and 17.6 his fourth.
That's a lot of money for safety.
Worth every penny. He's worth every penny of it.
I'm a big fan. That's a lot of money for a safety.
Yes, a lot of money. And he's talking about he won 30.
Yeah.
He's
really good, but he's not he's never getting it there where he's at. And I don't think he's going to get it, period.
Well, he's good. He's not really good, but he's good. He's good. He's not very good, but he's good. He's definitely he's not on the level of like like what I was used to playing with, like a B Dog or he's not on the level of even a Minka Fitzpatrick or a Troy Polamalu. He's good though. He is good. Bates is definitely good. Just not that good. Somebody been talking to him. If he thinks he's that good.
I think he thinks he is. That's for sure. All right, so we'll come back. We didn't get a chance to get the Phillies because we had so much football talk. We'll sneak in some Phillies. We get some good bird. I got a really weird new flavored soda that I need to talk to you guys about. You guys will. It is bizarre. All right, so we'll do that when we get back. Birthdays, movies, Phillies. On this date, a very strange thing that occurred in baseball yesterday. Okay, that you don't.
That was hilarious.
I have never seen it. I have never ever seen it. So we'll talk about that as well. So don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit. The glass is for cocktails, right?
It's for this, and that.
Is the length of the glass equal to your...
You betcha.
But is it made out of...
Glass?
Okay, but is the rip...
Smooth?
Will you stop doing...
That?
I'm the professional here.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. All from the company that's highly awarded. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and deliciously tasting vodka. So good, it just disappears.
final segment. Oh, bro, hey, we got to get the likes going. There's all kinds of in the chat section, so we got to smash the like button. All kinds of. Rob wears a Batman costume.
Yeah, I was going to say there's one way to get the likes up. Rob put on a Batman costume.
Get this stuff? I don't even know where we're getting.
Right, exactly.
I don't know, but we'll see. I see you guys. Don't think I don't see. I keep my eye on everything that's going on. But welcome back, everybody. We are Sports Take. Derek Barrett and Rob. All right, I want to hit you with this first before I get into these kind of weird the soda and the baseball thing. But so. You guys, Kevin Durant, we mentioned this yesterday, kind of threw down the gauntlet with his owner and trade me or either fire Steve Nash and Sean Marks or whatever, or trade me. So anyway, according to Ian Begley, who is a reporter for SNY in New York, there's been a lot of chatter about Durant possibly going to the Celtics, which I still think is a distinct possibility. But anyway, he says, does Begley, quote, something worth noting, as of earlier this week, there were high-ranking members of the Sixers who felt strongly about engaging with Brooklyn on a Durant trade. It is unknown if Brooklyn and Philadelphia have made any recent progress on a trade. The Sixers would almost certainly have to include Tyrese Maxey in a trade for Durant. Given the dynamics at play, you think that Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, and other draft picks would be included. Previous reports stated that the Suns were at or near the top of Durant's teams you want to be traded to. An offseason trade to Phoenix seems unlikely, et cetera, et cetera. It's well worth noting that in addition to Boston, Durant also sees Philadelphia as another desired landing spot. Per people familiar with the matter, depending on the players, picks involved, you could see either the Celtics or the Sixers satisfying Brooklyn's wishes in a Durant trade. So Sixers, I guess, are at least in the conversation here. I still think it's Boston. But I don't. It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. Put it that way.
Wouldn't the Sixers have to gut their team too much though to get a Kevin Durant? I mean, you'd have a big three. You'd have Embiid. You'd have Harden and Durant. But what about the supporting cast? If you're talking about Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey, which, for Boston's standpoint, if I'm going to give up a Kevin Durant, that's what I want.
Yeah.
If the 76ers are a legitimate player, but if I'm the Sixers, I'm thinking, okay, we have big three, but what if all three are not available every night to play? Do we have enough of a supporting cast to where we can still be as competitive as we need to be one of the higher seeds come playoff time? That's a
who
tough.
Who would be your three? Who would be your big three?
The big three are Embiid, Harden, and Kevin Durant. If they got Kevin Durant,
yeah. If you have those three, yeah.
Oh, you stand. Harden is still a big three.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, who else is there?
What's his name? They just signed from Miami.
Come on, PJ Tucker. Come on, man. Did you hit your head in a commercial break? Come on, man. Seriously.
No, I'm saying we still got to see it. We got to see if all this, this hoopla about, Harden coming back and him being in shape and that, hamstring, it's not hurting him. If it's really is what it is, then we'll have a legitimate big three instead of 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, look, I hate giving up Tyrese Maxey, man. I don't like it, but am I intrigued by having Durant and Embiid?
I can't believe we're saying that. Are we really saying?
Of course.
Are we really saying Tyrese Maxey and Durant in the same sentence?
I hear you. Well,
are you kidding me?
It's Maxey. To get the salaries up. Tobias Harris would have to be involved. I mean,
and
a lot more. Yeah, and a lot.
Who else? Who else? If you want, maybe somebody's grandmother, whatever. It don't matter.
Yeah, the one issue the Sixers, they don't have a lot of picks. They don't. No. Like 2029. They don't have a first rounder for a while, so that's a problem because other teams do. And I think Boston, with giving up Jaylen Brown and whatever else may be included in that package, it seems more likely than what the Sixers have to give up. But they're in it. And Daryl Morey, you never know. You never discount him. That's all I'm saying, man.
Right.
No. All right. So there is a new flavor of Coca-Cola.
Oh, come on, man.
It's called Dream World.
Oh, geez.
Dream World, which is a strawberry watermelon concoction developed in collaboration with DJ, rapper, hip-hop artist Marshmello.
Now, what is this? What? Huh? There's too much stuff going on right now. Marshmallow, strawberry, what?
Barrett, are you paying attention? What are you doing?
Bro, I'm just... this doesn't sound good to me. That's
It's a flavor called Dream World. This is one of the things they're doing lately is they're putting out these. I don't know if they're going to be long-term. Maybe they're just like one-offs, but it's called Dream World. It's a strawberry watermelon flavored concoction of Coke.
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that sounds good. Strawberry and watermelon
with Coca-Cola.
No.
With Coca-Cola, and we got a guy named Marshmallow that's gonna be pushing it.
Yeah. Well, remember,
what are you talking? So what are you talking about, D Gun? You don't understand that either.
I'm in the car the other day, and my daughter is flipping around the channels, whatever, and there's a song by Marshmallow. I'm like, is this a real thing? She's like, Dad, he's really good. I'm like, what? Marshmallow.
Right, exactly.
Can Marshmallow be any worse than the Island Boys? That is a big.
The Island Boys.
Have you seen them dudes? Oh my goodness,
bro! And they sing. People pay them to like sing stupid stuff like Cotton Candy. We the Island Boys.
Island Boys. Yeah. Well, you know what? Supposedly a guy came out and said their manager. They're financially broke and they've been booed off stages, man. So I think the Island Boys are done.
Are they financially broke? I thought they was making millions off that garbage.
No, they were sitting by the pool holding all that money. They were making money initially, I guess, out of curiosity. People were curious about them, but I think they're kind of like Vanilla Ice. One hit wonder.
One hit wonder.
Bro, they never had a hit, bro. They never had a hit. Those knuckleheads. You haven't. Have you seen them before, Rob?
No,
man. You haven't seen the Island Boys?
Are they? What do they look like? Give me what they.
Oh my goodness, young dudes with their hair out here all over the place.
Oh, it's those guys.
Up. Yes,
their faces are tatted too.
Man.
Xander, can you please just bring up a picture of please?
Come on, Xander. Come on, Z.
If it's the guys, I think were they like boxing each other the other day?
No, these guys.
No, they make your skin itch just looking at them.
Oh, right, that's who I'm thinking of. I know who they are. Yeah, they're an embarrassment to life. Those two.
Yes.
They are. I'm
they got
embarrassed.
Gold teeth.
Yeah,
tattoos all over them.
Yeah.
All over their face. How are you gonna get a legitimate job? Because your music career is going nowhere. Who's going to hire you for a legitimate job?
My guess is mommy and daddy are rich. Derek is my guess with those.
No, they were rich. I think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like they're stupid or something too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, yeah. Just look at them. Yeah.
Are you looking at them now? Okay.
I know. I've seen. I know who they are. I didn't know that's what they were called.
Yeah,
they're an embarrassment. I mean, they're an embarrassment.
But going back to Coca-Cola for a moment, Coca-Cola came out with a vanilla Coke. Remember that?
Yes.
And that was gross.
Yes.
So there's a coffee Coke.
I see people. I mentioning it in the chat. There's a coffee Coke now.
No, heck no.
Coffee Coke. No, I can't do that.
Why mess up a good thing, man? Come on, seriously.
Right.
A. Thomas, 300 likes. Rob wears gold teeth.
Gold teeth.
I'll hit that. You want me to look like the Island Boys? Is that what we're trying to do now? Oh my God.
Hey, let me tell you something.
With 500 likes, he'll get a tattoo on his face right here.
Right in his forehead.
Yeah, teardrop.
Hey, if Rob wears gold teeth, I'm hitting the like button at least 100 times. I'll tell you right now. I promise you that.
Yeah, I
see that.
Well, you're gonna hit it once, and then it records it. You can't just keep hitting it.
Then I'll go get 100 different devices. I'll get 100 different devices. Whatever I have to do, I'm calling everybody I know. Hit that like button. Hit it now.
Right. I'm calling long lost brothers I never met.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All that. You know what I'm saying?
For 400 likes, get Rob to wear the gold teeth and
400 likes, I'll wear a grill the next day. All right.
And sing Island Boys. And you got to sing Island Boys.
I got to sing those too? No, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
God.
Oh, that'd be crazy, man. That would be absolutely crazy, man.
All right, this was crazy. So, Major League Baseball last night. All right, this dude had just gotten called up by the Pirates. His name's Rudolfo Castro. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Barrett, he's sliding into third base last night in a game against the Diamondbacks. Okay.
Yes.
As he's sliding in, a cell phone falls out of his pocket.
I saw.
Okay. So he gets up and he sort of casually tries to hand it to the third base coach. He's just like, yeah, here you go. Like, just take it off my, so nobody. And the third base coach is like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, you have a phone with you as we're playing the freaking game. He was pissed, the third base coach. Now he took it and whatever. And then I give the Pirates manager credit. He didn't lose his mind completely, but he's like, this can't ever happen. Like, basically, like he knows.
I'd set him down.
Yeah. So anyway, but what are you doing, man? This is where we're at now? You got a cell phone in your back pocket as you're playing the game.
I'd have set him down. I'd have called timeout and replaced him with a pinch runner right there.
Yep. I would have too, Derek.
Well, let me tell you this. The worst thing I ever did, it was during the preseason. And it was me and Jerome Bettis. And this is during a game. Jerome went and paid. Well, Jerome went to one of the fans over there and said, hey, go get us 3 hot dogs. He goes up, they go get the 3 hot dogs. And I'm like, you kidding me? He's going to get hot dogs. He's going, hey, pork chop, I'm getting 3 hot dogs. You want one? I said, yeah, I want one. I said, if you're getting 3, I want 1.5. You ain't going to take all, you ain't going to take 2 and I take 1.
Yeah, we're splitting this, yeah.
Bruh, they caught us on film eating the hot dogs.
Oh
no.
Me and Jerome Bettis eating the hot dog. Cowell was so pissed.
Oh.
He was hot. He was furious. They were good though. But I'm just saying they were.
Yeah. I can't see Cowher being happy about that. As old school as he is,
and if it was just me, he'd have cut me immediately. But
right, because Bettis was attached to it.
Right. Because Bettis bought the hot dog. He got the hot dogs to us. That's why I was still on the team. Right. It was almost one of those things where I wasn't going to be on the team if I would have just did it myself.
Yes.
And it's the first time we got caught doing it. We've done it before, but it was the first time we got caught.
Okay. I've seen it on it. I never saw it on an NFL bench. I saw it on an NBA bench at the guy sitting at the end trying to sneak it. You guys have done that too.
Bro, usually it was 4 of us. It was me, the kicker, Jeff Reed, Casey Hampton, and Jerome. It was usually the 4 of us. We used to do it all the time.
Okay.
We got caught, and that was our last time doing it. It had to be our Super Bowl year too, but we got caught. It was pretty bad.
You survived.
He was furious, man.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's usually the 3 of us that we used to do it, though. It was.
That's pretty good.
Bill Cowher with that square jaw, just spitting all over everybody.
Man. I'm so glad it wasn't COVID when he was around. Bro.
Yeah, a lot of weather, not a lot of news coming.
Right.
Yeah, I covered Cowher for a few years, man. He'd be at the podium. You know how it's lit. You don't miss anything. It would look like a mist coming out of his mouth. Pew, pew, pew. I'm like, I would never sit in the front row. No, thank you.
No, thank
you.
He was a great dude, though, man. He was a great dude, man.
It always seemed like he loved his players for sure. And I mean, he was Pittsburgh. The guy personified Pittsburgh.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Coach.
He one time, we were playing against. We actually beat them pretty bad. We were playing against the Patriots, and I was in there on PAT, and I promise you, all my arm did was like this. It tightened up just like this. And they called the flag, threw the flag. We couldn't kick the field goal. They backed it up. He kicked the field goal, and we still made the field goal. Jeffrey still made the field goal. But I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to hear this, man. So as soon as the kick, we were going into halftime. So as soon as the ball was kicked, I jogged off the field real fast, and then I haul ass to the stairs to go down the steps. And as I'm turning around, as I'm running, I look over, and Cowher makes eye contact with me. I looked at him. He looked at me. No. And I took off running down the steps. And he started running after me. Brooks, watch up! And he comes over. He knocks down. He pushes over Hines Ward. Boom! He pushed Casey Hampton out the way. He went up. He hit Joey Porter in the back. Moved out of the way. Ran up the steps. So they started running after him. Man, as soon as we ran up in that locker room, I turned around, got to my locker. He told him, "That's BS, Pork Chop. That's BS." And all 4 of those guys sitting there just laughing and cracking. I'm like, oh man, I'm in front of Arab. I'm like, oh man,
that's awesome. I love those stories, man. I love the stories.
So every time they see me, every time any of them see me, Joey Porter, that's big. Every single time, Pork Chop, that's. I'm like, all right, man.
That's awesome.
They never let me live it down.
That's what it's all about, right there. That is what it's all about.
My face and everything, bro.
Hey, you were there, man. That's all that matters. You survived. So did the Phillies last night. They won again. Weird game. There was 2 rain delays last night. That was one of those, just call it. As soon as it became official, just end this thing as they're trying to fight through the raindrops. But they had delays of 32 minutes, 33 minutes. But they win again, 4-1, 6th in a row. They're 1.5 up in the wild card. Padres won last night. The Cardinals lost. Wheeler goes 6 innings, just 1 run allowed.
Yep.
He's allowed just 5 earned runs in his last 4 starts, Derek. He has been.
Oh, yeah.
He's that guy. He is the number 1 guy.
109 pitches in 6 innings. That's a lot of pitches, though.
Yeah, he didn't have his best stuff.
No.
Yeah.
but he was good enough to handle the Marlins last night. Now you know who's pitching for Miami tonight. One of my favorite pitchers in the National League. I can't wait. Alcantara. I can't wait to see him pitch tonight, man. I love watching that dude pitch. But you're right. Phillies are on a roll. I mean, who hit a home run last night? Real Muto hit a home run last night. Yeah. Segura hits a home run last night. You know, and Bohm had an RBI single, and Real Muto had 2 RBIs, 2 to 4
He's
RBIs
on fire.
for him.
Yeah.
But here's what's concerning. They have now cut back Bryce Harper throwing.
Yeah, it says elbow soreness.
I don't think there's any chance he plays in the field this year.
No.
I don't think so. I think he's gonna have to have surgery on that elbow.
Well, they say he's gonna. Yeah, they say it's gonna. But they say it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be as extensive as Tommy John's.
Yeah,
right.
It's not as serious for a position player than a pitcher. Right. You know,
but let me ask you this though: did Noah do enough? I mean, I was actually just from how he pitched. I didn't watch the game. Did Noah do enough? Did you see a difference in his speed? You know, speed to power. I mean, you know, pushing it down. I mean, did he have any movement? I mean, how was his pitching?
Well, so when he made his debut last week, he looked like a guy who didn't have the potential to miss a lot of bats, and his velocity's down. I'm willing to give him somewhat of the benefit of the doubt just because he just got here. Tonight's going to be interesting to see what he looks like tonight. The other thing he didn't do was hold guys on first base at all. He didn't hold runners at all. So
I think I don't mean to cut you off, but when I was watching Syndergaard pitch the first time for the Phillies, early in the game, somebody stole a base on him, and they said that was the 25th batter out of 26 attempts that have successfully stolen a base on Noah Syndergaard. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, Derek.
Are you kidding me?
Those, yeah, at least
25 out of 26.
Real Muto couldn't even make a throw. It wasn't a. It was a. Yeah, it was just. It was the catcher had no chance. So he needs to be a lot better. I saw them work. I forget what I was watching one of the pregame shows the other night, and they were working on his mechanics, and they think they figured something out mechanically, both with his pitches and with his ability to keep runners on. So tonight's going to make a big difference to answer your question, Barrett. It's going to be, and he's going against a stud. You know, Miami doesn't have a great offense, but the Phillies are going to be challenged to score runs against this dude because they're facing a really good pitcher tonight.
Hey, you see, Mr. Taz said it best. Rob, you heard it here first. Rob getting another player fired, D-Gun. I agree. Syndergaard's going to be out of here before you know it.
I'm giving him last start. I'm trying to be, you know, I'm a little better now. I'm a little more easygoing. All right, so I had to mention this to you. Keith Hernandez. Okay, Keith Hernandez is the Mets broadcaster. I think Gunnar and I were kicking this around before. So he mentioned the broadcast last night. He hates doing Phillies games because they're so sloppy defensively, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to do their games. Basically, they're not worth my time, you know, all this other stuff. And now I don't know if he's going to do any of the games the rest of the way between the Phillies and the Mets. I don't think he's doing the one that's here. But that is going to be fascinating if somehow he ends up back here in some way, shape, or form doing their games.
They are going to boo him.
Yeah. He's going to get it. He is going to get it.
But what Phillies team is he watching? Yeah, they were sloppy defensively early on the season. Yeah. They have played much better. You know, Ball made a great play at third last night.
Again.
And who's the shortstop? Soto?
Oh, Sosa. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Made a great play, flipped it to second to start a double play.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, they're playing much better defensively.
Yeah, they
now
are.
To go along with the offense, I'm telling you, nobody wants to see this team right now.
But they try to give him an out. They try to be like, all right, you just haven't watched because the last 2 months they've been playing great.
Yeah,
but he still was just boneheaded and just going forward. Like, all right, they just don't know how to play different. They're not fundamentally sound. I mean, they gave him a shot, but he still didn't take it, man. So he's gonna get it when he comes to Philly. In fact, he's gonna hear about this for the rest of his career here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he is. He is going to hear it. So Phillies win. Like I said, they're rolling. They won 6 in a row, 11 of 12 so far. They've outscored their opponents. How about this one? In the first inning of their games, their last 11 games, they've outscored the opponents 17-1 in the first inning. They're jumping on teams quick. You mentioned Real Muto, Derek. Last 18 games, he's hitting 400 with 5 doubles, 2 triples, 6 home runs, and 19 RBIs. He's scorching right now.
About time, yeah.
Yeah, he picked it up for sure. As a team, they're 40-19 since June 1st. They have been amazing. They've been amazing, man. So they're playing really good baseball. All right, let's dive into a couple of couple of birthdays, and I'll give you a cool on this date. I mentioned to you guys the Dream Team won their gold a couple days ago on this date in 92.
Yes.
84, the USA basketball team. These guys were just coming out of college, mind you. Had Jordan, had Patrick Ewing, still had some studs on that team.
Jeez.
They won the 84 gold on this date in 1984. So that team was stacked too, that 84 team.
Right.
Charles Barkley didn't make that team.
Isn't that something?
What?
Bobby Knight cut him.
What?
Yes. Bobby Knight cut Barkley on the 84 team.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So they end up winning it on this date. All right, birthdays.
What's
Antonio
the worst day?
Banderas. Yes. Little biggie. Antonio Banderas, 62. Rosanna Arquette, 63. Kylie Jenner. Is that Ben Simmons or was it the other one?
No, that's Kylie.
It was Kylie.
That's Kylie, yeah.
She's 25. John Morant, 23. Herbert Hoover, a former president, was born in
31st
Barrett's
president.
favorite president. Yeah, he was born in 1874. Jimmy Dean of Jimmy Dean sausage fame, born in 1928. No, I knew I'd get a little reaction.
Great guy.
Fucking Jimmy. Yeah, big fan of Jimmy Dean. Thank you, Jimmy, for your contributions. I think that's it. Did I miss anybody, Derek?
Eddie Fisher, one of the greatest crooners of all time.
He's from Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's from Philly. In the 50s, he was a god to women in the 50s, man. Great singer. And he has two stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for singing and one for acting, or one for a television show. And I'm like, I don't remember Eddie Fisher being much on television, but he has two stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Have you guys ever been there? We went last summer. We were on a vacation in California.
Yep.
That's a dumpy street, man.
It is. But there's that famous diner right across the street from it. Did you ever go to that diner?
We didn't go to
like
the
that
diner.
It's like that old school diner.
Okay.
Food's great. I can't think of the name of the place now, but great diner right there. But you're right, Rob. And then there's they have the it was like a Chinese
Grauman's Chinese theater.
Theater right there. Yep.
And Jimmy Kimmel tapes right across the street from there too.
Yep.
But it's an interesting collection, man, of folks
in a weird area too.
It's a weird area.
Very congested area. People, over there, all over there, left and right. But you're right. He put it in a weird part of the town.
Yeah, wasn't. I thought it was going to be a little different than it was. Movies on this date. You guys remember Red Dawn, which was going to the whole, Soviet Union and the whole thing, and it was,
Red Dawn,
Red Dawn,
yeah.
C. Thomas Howell and Swayze and all those guys were in that.
That was a great movie too, man.
It was. That was 84, I think that was. The Help came out today as well, which is another really good
2011. Have you seen that one?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Now I saw it. Believe it or not, I saw it bits and pieces because my daughter and wife were watching it for the first time a few days ago.
They're trying to give you some culture.
Yeah, well, I usually thought I had culture, Barrett, but I guess not. I'm sitting there watching it. What a great storyline. For people who don't know, the storyline is you have this maid who became a great author, and she wrote a book about how black maids were perceived in Southern America in the early 1960s, and it became an incredibly selling book. But the storyline, you talk about who was in that I wrote it down. I was like, wow. Think about this. Emma Stone is in that movie.
Yep.
Jessica Chastain and Viola Davis.
Yep.
Great storyline, great movie. I got to watch it again because I missed certain parts of it, but unbelievable movie.
Yeah, she was from Jackson, Mississippi, in the early 60s. Yep.
How did I miss this?
Yeah. No, very, very good one. So that Black Klansman was another one.
Yep.
Born Legacy, that was the 2012 edition. That was it wasn't Matt Damon. It was Jeremy Renner. Was that one 2012? Right. American Pie 2.
Yep.
That was love there.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in all those American Pies. And then Freaky Friday was what I had movie-wise. Did I miss any?
You missed two of my favorites,
okay,
my all-time favorites. First of all, came out in 2018, The Meg about
that was on. That was on TNT last night or the night before. Yeah.
See, first it was Jaws, and then the Meg, and both of them are the reason why I will not go 50 miles offshore with Mr. Brooks.
See that, Barrett?
That ain't happening. I'm telling you right now. I do not go in the ocean above my knees anymore because of those two movies.
Okay.
Now, my other favorite movie, Rush Hour 3, and Rob, when we were doing the pre-show meeting, I said you have to go online and look at the clip. You know, the Who's on First, What's on Second shtick is one of the all-time best movie sticks. But what Chris Tucker did in Rush Hour 3, when he goes into this dojo, like karate dojo, and asking people, who are you? And one guy says, I'm who? He goes, no, who are you? Barry, you got to see this. It's funny. And then who are you? Yeah, and he goes, who are you? I'm me. No, not me. You. Who are you? I'm who? No, I'm who? It's one of the funniest sticks ever on TV.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
It was, I watched it after our pre-show meeting. I YouTubed it. It was awesome. It was really good.
Can't believe you never saw that, man.
Yeah.
You know, you
Jackie
being the
Chan
movie
got him
buff
out of
that you
there
are.
when things were starting to really go sideways. Yeah.
My wife asked me a great question, you know, because she'll peek in the show every now and then. She goes, you know, you watch a lot more movies than I thought you did. How do you know about all these movies? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll have something on while I'm working or something.
Yeah.
She goes, no, you got too much free time in your hand. I'm like, no, I really don't. You know, that means a honey-do list is coming. I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't.
I got something for you over here.
Yeah, you're going to be put to work.
Exactly.
You are going to be put to work.
No, that's okay. Nope.
Yeah. That'll do it for us. So we may see Philip.
No.
We may. I don't know. We might. We'll see. See what happens.
Yeah, I'm going to call him as soon as we get off.
You look thrilled to call him.
Call who?
Right. You guys just say anything. How to my head. I got the new.
Oh, your sound is great. Yeah,
Okay.
so Barrett's
Awesome
at the NBC
today.
Sports Philadelphia headquarters. So that's where he's coming from. It sounds good, actually, I think.
All right, good. I got these for a couple of bucks from Burlington Coat Factory.
Nice move. Yeah.
Really?
Way better. Way better.
These are,
no kidding.
These are nice. Yeah, these are nice. Plug right into my computer, you know.
Perfect.
So I needed something.
It's good.
Wow.
Don't change it, man. Don't change it. So we have that. We're back at the same time. Stay tuned for 4:30. Michael Irvin's going to join Dan Cilio with the National Football Show, but we are back in tow tomorrow, same time, 3 hours of power.
No practice tomorrow, so I'll be able to be on time, Derek.
We will have Barrett full 3, baby. All right.
I'm emotional. I'm emotional right now.
I love it. All right. So for D Gunn, Barrett Brooks, I'm Rob Ellis. Everybody have a great Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow, same time. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit. Glass is for cocktails, right?
It's for this, 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 and that.
Is the length of the glass equal to your...
You betcha.
But is it made out of...
Glass?
Okay, but is the rip...
Smooth?
Will you stop doing...
That?
I'm the professional here.